Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for TWiT specials is provided by Cashfly at CACHEFLY.com. This is TWiT Live special number 154, recorded February 20th, 2013. The PlayStation 4 announcement. This TWiT Live special is brought to you by the all-new Slingbox, which can turn your mobile device into a television. With the all-new Slingbox, you can watch high-def TV on your smartphone, laptop, or tablet anywhere there's an internet connection. Check it out at slingbox.com/twit. All right, time for some breaking news. Got Brian Brushwood is joining us from Austin, Texas.
Hello.
Hello, Brian.
Hey, Leo, how are you, sir?
We are covering the Sony announcement in New York, which just began a few minutes ago. Let's put up that video so we can talk about it as he's talking.
With mobility and the ability to share content and experiences becoming an increasingly important part of the gaming experience, connectivity between devices and the ease with which they connect has been essential to meeting the demands of today's casual or core gamer.
Brian, thanks for joining us. There was some question when this, they really were pushing people to come out. You could just show me in a little corner if you want. I want to make sure we keep our eye on what's going on this stage. There was some question about what they would announce at this event. In fact, Ryan Shrout, who's our hardware guru here at TWiT, said it would be kind of crazy to announce a PlayStation 4 at this early stage in the game, giving the competitors a chance to adjust before they had to announce, particularly Nintendo and Microsoft. What do you think? Will we see a PS4 here?
It depends. It depends if what they announce is more than just a piece of hardware, but a change in the philosophy and ecosystem of the way they want to essentially shape the next decade. I mean, keep in mind, it's been, what, 7, 8 years now. It's like this thing is ancient in terms of technology. We've gone through so many different hardware generations between now and then when this came out. I'm really curious if the biggest announcement is, if I'm going to be disappointed if the big announcements are a bunch of numbers about these gigapixels, blah-de-blah, or whatever. They need to make a very simple, compelling narrative about here's something you can do now that you would never have been able to do before this device. I'm fascinated to see where this goes.
Continue to become more powerful. And as you'll see today, remains at the heart of every new innovation we create. While our Sony heritage has long been defined by superb engineering and technology unleashed via powerful hardware, we also knew success would rely not only on a package of next-generation technologies, but on reconceptualizing.
So at this point, they're setting the stage for what next-generation gaming might be on a console.
Yeah, they're pretty much telling their story of success and what they've done well in the past and setting up a narrative arc here.
You mentioned how old the PlayStation 4 is, but the Xbox is just as long in the tooth. The Nintendo has had some updates, but
a new platform were clear. Conversations with the wildly talented and ambitious minds found within the developer community helped us understand what would define the new and the next for them.
Ryan believes it will be an AMD-based processor instead of the cell processor that the current PlayStation has. It means developers would have to start from scratch.
So you don't think any backwards compatibility, huh?
Well, the rumor we've heard is Sony bought Gaikai, which is a streaming gaming service. The rumor we heard is that probably PS3 games would be streamed to the PS4, a la On Live or Gaikai.
We will give you a glimpse into the future.
To be honest, that's my prediction, is that we're going to see a deeper level of Steam integration. I wouldn't be surprised if they announced that Steam is the only way to get the games on the new system.
That's an interesting idea.
By Sony Computer Entertainment. It's designed to make accessing the content gamers love easier than ever. It's conceived as the most personalized gaming experience available today. It is consistent with our heritage in gaming, delivering the most powerful platform ever. It is simple and adaptive with socially enriched content.
If you're just tuning in, we're covering live Sony's announcement, which we believe will be of a PlayStation 4, although they haven't said. Triangulation will start an hour later at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Our guest, Steve Huffman, founder of Reddit.
Yeah. I know that one of the rumors that I was reading beforehand would be the idea that they would have a simple, transparent ecosystem that would involve your tablet and smartphone, taking all of your current devices and allowing you to directly interact, video chat while you're playing with your friends, all built in.
And he is talking a lot about connection and community right now. That might make sense.
Thank you.
There we see it, the PS4 logo, which looks exactly like the PS3 logo with a 4 in it.
Leading authority on play. For gamers around the world.
By the way, this is Andrew House of Sony speaking right now.
The best place to play. PlayStation 4.
And the stream is a little bit rocky. Probably our fault.
What are the numbers? Like up to about 500,000 people watching live on the Ustream feed right now?
Imaginations to create next-generation experiences that surpass gamers. Today, we are revealing the genesis of an expanding idea about the future of play.
Oh, come on. This is agonizing. You're killing me. Give it to us. You got to tell us.
An idea with enough vision to lead the ever-changing landscape. Over the next couple of hours, we're going to show you what the new...
You know what? There's part of me that doesn't even mind it.
What innovations it is bringing to gamers, and what central ideas and principles drove its development.
So I do believe they're going to at least tell us something about the PlayStation 4. At least we know it is the PlayStation 4.
You'll meet the minds who form the creative scene. He joined Atari.
Is this us or is this them?
With the arcade Marble Madness. Future successes were many. He worked with Sega on Sonic the Hedgehog.
Are you on the Ustream
served as
stream?
president of Universal Interactive Studios and was part of the creative team on such blockbusters as Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, and Ratchet and Clank. Now, as our lead system architect on the PlayStation 4, he has been able to harness the engineering prowess of Sony Computer Entertainment with deep developer insight to create a next-generation platform that sets a new industry standard. It is my great pleasure to introduce lead system architect Mark Cerny.
So Andrew House of Sony introducing Mark Cerny, the lead system architect for the new PlayStation 4. You're watching breaking news coverage of the Sony announcement going on live now in New York.
Thank you for the warm welcome, and thank you all for being here today. As Andy mentioned, my role on the development of the next generation platform started about 5 years ago. At that time, we began to look at how the console architecture could free developers from painful technological limitations.
That was the Crash Bandicoot music, by the way.
That they've always been dreaming of making.
This is interesting.
We also looked at how the whole PlayStation ecosystem could be evolved as well to allow the player to take a dynamic, preference-driven path through the world of content. So when we started this process, it was the early days of the PlayStation 3, which is to say, at a time of great transition in technology and how we use it.
That's 8 years ago he started
all the
this.
way from the Atari 2600, which was the dominant console when I started in games.
This doesn't really bother me that we're hitting a plateau of the physical capabilities of a lot of these devices. I like that it lasted this long because I think the games coming out now still look good.
Absolutely.
But we do need a dramatic rethinking of what a console is meant to do and how we want to interact with it. That's what I'm hoping to see out of this.
This guy designed Marble Madness when he was 18 years old.
Oh my God, I loved Marble Madness.
Yeah.
A range of services and applications. Now, PS3 has done pretty well in these respects. It's the top platform for Netflix. But as a console design,
that's interesting. PS3 is the top platform for Netflix. Did not know that. Wouldn't have thought it.
In this new world.
Yeah, we talked about that on frame rate.
Since the launch of PlayStation 3, we've seen a proliferation in the number and variety of devices that people own and interact with.
Also joining us now, Andy Carboni. Andy, it's good to see you.
Anthony.
Anthony.
How are you, sir?
Anthony, not Andy. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, how are you?
It's great to have you. Thanks for joining.
Cave.
We got the gamers on this one. Brian Brushwood, Anthony Carboni, and we're watching, I think, although it looks like it's just dropped out on us, the live stream from New York of the PlayStation 4
They had to know that that the whole world was going to turn their eyes. It's so amazing because like this morning I wasn't paying attention and I didn't even know there was going to be an announcement today. But then it's amazing how fast that information propagates and how quickly everyone can immediately tune in. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're having trouble if somebody didn't think that we'd get 500,000 viewers.
And it is close to 500,000, is it not?
Yeah. 444,000 people are saying.
Wow.
I'm seeing 2.5 million on Ustream.
Wow.
No kidding.
That's more than watch the president.
Well, I don't. It has a total views here. We can show you. But
they have two numbers usually. It's usually the simultaneous viewers and the total viewers, right?
Right. So down here in the corner here, it looks like 2.5 million.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but the
total views current is 473,000.
Oh, gotcha. So this is the
yeah. That's the one you really care about is the current viewers.
Sorry,
We wanted to make them happy.
Anthony, are you in the Revision 3 offices?
I am.
Awesome. Anthony, the host of New Challenger and Random Encounter. What are you working on Revision 3?
So I'm still doing some stuff over at Rev3 Games, and then I'm also doing a show called Discovery News, which is a daily science show for Discovery.
Yeah, Rev3 started a games channel. I know Adam's Sessler's come over there.
Yeah. He's actually at the event right now.
Awesome.
He and our producer Zach are watching the whole thing live, and we're gonna have some content and some interviews up later on tonight.
Fantastic.
Not that you're jealous.
No, not at all. I think you saw some of my jealousy tweets.
I'll tell you what, that's what made me think we needed to get you on there.
Real angry.
You started raging, and I was just like, well, we gotta get this boy a platform. We gotta make this happen.
Well, you know, they've as far as PlayStation goes, you know, this is a pretty standard
in many ways, but
press conference opening for them. They tried to make it the everything device, and I think they lost a lot of focus last generation. And I'm actually a little surprised to see them starting off with so much stuff about media this time because of that.
For the graphics processor, we decided to use a highly
See, I disagree. I think that if what they have a chance to do right now, we're all changing the way we use our consoles. We use them for so much more than gaming, and I think it's a great time for somebody to come in and own that and to define their system by it.
We should point out that they're talking about the architecture. It's an x86 architecture, which is going to solve some of the concerns developers have about starting over since they no longer have a PowerPC cell-based architecture. With an x86, it's very likely that cross-platform development will be possible. Everything's going to be x86 going forward, I think. Let's listen.
And this system memory is backed by the massive local storage that only a hard drive can provide. Overall, this architecture is designed to ensure that the very best games and the most immersive experiences will reach the player. Now, the next few demos are live, so I get the pleasure of sharing with you, for the first time, the new controller. And here it is, the DualShock 4.
It looks just like the old controller.
It looks very familiar.
Looks like it does have that touchpad.
It does have. We had heard there was an LCD touchpad at the top, and we do see that now. So that was not a Photoshop. That's genuine.
Wow.
During the development of the DualShock 4, we worked with key partners in the development community to enhance the feel of the joystick and the trigger buttons. The result is a much tighter sense of control over in-game actions. We also took this as an opportunity to enhance the rumble capabilities and reduce the controller latency. And finally, we added a few new features. A touchpad as a new form of input, a share button and a headphone jack to enhance social interaction.
Share button?
Share button.
A light pad is a a light bar.
What is that, tweet when you're playing?
No, you know what I bet you'll see integration with games where the moment you have an epic kill, you just, in the middle of the game, you just press share and it immediately takes the last 30
Screenshot
seconds.
and or video, yeah.
Oh, it comes with a stereo camera now.
Via its light bar.
Is this Kinect like?
It looks like it's almost Wii-ish. Looks like it's going to have some motion.
From the augmented PC architecture. This is Unreal Engine 4 from Epic, running in real time on prototype hardware.
Wow.
There's some very sophisticated technology here. GPU accelerated
not a
particle
cinematic.
systems and realistic transmissive materials with substantial subsurface scattering. And this is all running in real time. I can look around as the animation plays.
Here's where you see the advantage of an x86 architecture. You could port the Unreal Engine quickly and easily.
To drive this level of application. But we also have in PlayStation 4 an extraordinarily easy conversion path in the PC world.
That's a real selling point, I think.
Now,
yeah, and
as to how we
I think we've seen hints of this with their integration with Steam. I think that PS3 started to, and PS4 certainly will complete to be the most PC-like of all the consoles.
With almost 2 teraflops of computational performance. Putting CPU and GPU on the same die gives them streamlined access to a common pool of memory. And with PlayStation 4, we're taking an unprecedented step. For system memory, we're using GDDR5, the type of memory typically reserved for top-of-the-line, high-end graphics cards. This gives us 176 gigabytes per second of bandwidth and provides a further boost to the GPU performance. Now, earlier I said we were using a highly enhanced PC GPU.
Again, another PC engine, the Havoc engine.
To make compute easier, which is to say, we've made it to use the GPU as a general...
This is a physics engine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
This next live demo is a million-object physics simulation from Havoc. This is primarily running on the GPU, not the CPU. Tasks that can fully occupy the CPU cores will be achievable using just a fraction of the PlayStation 4 GPU.
This is really effective storytelling as well, because we haven't heard any numbers or any specifics or how many gigaflops whatevers. Instead, they just show us pictures of something that we knew we could never see before.
The development community will choose to use this tool that we've provided for them. Truth is, From
the point of view of the developers, the ability to use things like Havoc really speeds your development along. And this is, again, a benefit to having an AMD 8-core processor, GDDR5.
War has come to our peaceful land. We
x86.
must send our best to neutralize this threat. A veteran explorer, military.
This, of course, is this kind of thing is a staple of E3, and usually not very indicative. A lot of cutscenes, a lot of trailers.
Behold my greatest creation, Knack.
I'm much more impressed by the real-time Havoc demo than a cutscene, which is all this is, obviously.
He looks a little delicate to me.
But then again, they're also aware that, you know, if they want to sell...
They gotta have the titles. Gotta have the titles.
He will be invaluable in the fight against the goblins.
We're watching live coverage of the Sony PlayStation announcement in New York City right now. They did indeed announce a PlayStation 4. We're learning more about its capabilities now.
Why do you work for them?
From the lead developer on the team, Mark Cerny. Longtime developer. He worked on Sonic the Hedgehog and Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter.
Begins now.
Spyro the Dragon, Ratchet and Clank. All your favorites.
So this looks like the, this is a smart title for them to show off, since what they just did is talk about the Havoc engine and the particle physics.
Yeah, look at that.
Able to do.
Yeah.
To have a character whose gimmick is to break into a particle physics.
He's Particle Man. That's Knack. The one thing they're going to have to face, though, if they're using these open engines, is the probability that many of these games will also be on a new Xbox and Steam on the PC. Is that a problem, not having unique titles?
You know, I think what they lost
can't tell you
out
how nice
on,
it is to finally be able to show that in public.
They have a great stable of in-house first-party developers that obviously is with them, is not going to be leaving them. I think what they missed out on, like you said, by missing that that x86 architecture, is a lot of the smaller development companies, a lot of the smaller houses, the indie guys that were developing for mobile, that were developing for Xbox and Steam. You saw those games come to the PS3 a little bit later because of that, and I think they're trying to regain that sort of market share.
We're extremely helpful in crafting the overall system architecture. Games continue to evolve, some becoming very complex indeed, and the processing power of the system is an exponential leap over its predecessors. But at the same time, we wanted the platform...
Mark's got some pretty dark circles under his eyes. I think he's been working very long, very hard for the last 4 or 5 years on this thing.
I would imagine. I mean, think about, you know, these guys aren't media celebrities. They're programmers and engineers.
Pressure.
To get up in front of an audience like this and know, millions are watching.
Immediacy is no longer an ambition when creating system UI. It's an expectation with players. So on PlayStation 4, we've put together a feature set assisted in many ways by custom hardware that radically reduces the lag time between consumers and their content. For one, the hardware supports suspending and resuming of play sessions. Just hit the power button and the system enters a low power state.
It's great for people like me, casual gamers who aren't
the minutes that it takes
dedicated
to boot
the
a
game for
console
hours
and load a saved game will be a thing of the past. On PS4,
well, and even,
you'll just hit that
if you're playing a long narrative game and you don't want to power down, you have to wait to load up every time.
It's a real pain in the current PlayStation.
PlayStation 4 also has a secondary custom chip that manages uploads and downloads. As a result,
another real pain in the PlayStation 3.
Update games in the background, or even
this whole section is them
one step
really
further.
kind of addressing that sort of weak, that
PlayStation 4,
cross-media
digital
bar,
titles are
the whole
playable
UI issues that they've been
even as
having in comparison to the Xbox dashboard.
You download just a fraction of the data and begin playing.
The 3 hours of updates I get when I turn on my PS3.
They're really playing catch up here.
Yeah.
Our next key principle is social. There's no doubt that
now this is interesting. Sony has not had a good story with social, I have to say.
I thought they were going to be onto something with home, and it didn't look like that really developed into much. Did you ever play much with that, Anthony?
Oh, God, you're baiting me right now.
Now, to illustrate the next few points,
was
I'm going to show you various
like the worst part of Second Life combined with the worst part of Sony's marketing team.
Yeah. And then they lost your password.
Yep.
This dedicated video compression.
So they really have a long way to come back on this. Xbox dominates
about security
of recordings of gameplay. Just hit the share button on the.
So this is exactly what you thought.
Scan through the last few
The
minutes
share
of
button
gameplay,
shares the
pick a
last few
portion,
minutes of gameplay.
tag it,
Nice.
and return to your game.
Oh,
the,
exactly what you
video
thought.
Will upload as you continue.
Oh,
playing.
by the way, it
Our
does
goal
stop your
is
game
to
though.
make
He said, "Did you hear that?" And then return to your game.
Video as popular in the PlayStation 4 generation.
Well, I think that makes sense if you're trimming and uploading.
Yeah,
you got to stop it.
But this is great for them too. It's great promotion.
You can browse.
And my guess also is that you'll be able to customize your own presets so that in the middle of a deathmatch game, it distracts you as short a time as possible.
You can even see
and YouTube's just going to be loaded
with
kill shots.
Speaking of which, I wonder if we'll see more talk about the integration of live streaming your playthroughs on games.
Well, it looked like that. She was just live streaming there, it looked like.
We'll keep around the alias and the icon used in today's multiplayer matches. These are great to have when anonymity is important. But most of the new social dimension to PlayStation 4 will be interacting with friends using real names and profile pictures, most likely seeded from your existing social network.
Now, this is huge because this is something that Nintendo refused to allow. In fact, they boot you off if there's anything in your profile on your Nintendo Wii U that lets people figure out who you really are. Whereas these guys are going the opposite direction, which I think is great because just like YouTube comments, in my subjective experience, have gotten a lot more civil now that real names are being associated with it. It would be great if we could get more civil behavior from people in death matches because their real name is associated with it.
Be carried far beyond the living room. You can use your smartphone to browse game video of possible opponents in your favorite fighting game and challenge them to matches. Companion applications on PlayStation Vita or your tablet will add another dimension to the experience and allow you to keep in touch with the evolving world of your game, regardless of your location.
I'm not entirely convinced of anything except about companion apps except the gimmickiness just yet. I think they want you to really integrate this, be using this in your daily life, and I don't see myself doing that.
Well, again, it's something Sony's wanted for a long time and has never been able to do.
News about your game titles or interactions with your friends.
Well, you wonder if they're solving a problem that nobody really has.
Likes and dislikes, we can take this a step further. You'll discover content preloaded and ready to go on your console by your favorite creator or in your favorite genre. Our long-term vision is to reduce download times of digital titles to 0. If we know enough about you to predict the next game you'll purchase, then
I like that.
Ready to go
We're downloading it even before you buy it.
So, in conclusion, an informed system architecture was fundamental to the creation.
That sounds so creepy, but I kind of don't even mind it. Because if the
always has been our goal.
Well, if you have Call of Duty 1, 2, 3, downloading 4 doesn't seem like a big stretch.
Or even if, let's say, there's some title that they know or that strongly suspect is going to go viral.
Right.
If they preloaded it on everyone's system, so the moment they heard about it,
they could play it.
Flip the switch and you were going, I think that would be great.
And that
have to have a big hard drive.
Would need to not only meet, but also
data cap at home too.
Their expectations.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know how many 4.6 gig games I want
That's a really good point.
consumer-focused and developer-centric approach to the design of the PlayStation 4, resulting in gaming experiences that evolve and ensuring that PlayStation continues to offer the best place to play. As a developer and creator, and certainly as a gamer, I'm thrilled about the vast potential of the PS4 to empower new and even more compelling game experiences. And that's the end of my section of today's presentation.
Mark Cerny, who is the technical lead on the new PlayStation 4. You're watching the live coverage of the PlayStation 4 announcement, Sony in New York City. Anthony Carboni from Revision 3 is with us, Brian Brushwood.
So, I'd like to introduce the next speaker, Dave Perry. You probably know him as the co-founder and CEO of Gaikai, a pioneering company in cloud gaming.
This is what I've been waiting for. I want to know what they're doing with Gaikai.
This is the streaming service Sony bought not so long ago.
Dave's one of my personal heroes, a charismatic game designer with a string of hits, including Aladdin and Earthworm Jim, that I've spent far too much of my time playing over the years. Please join me in welcoming David
I love how they
Perry,
can't mention a Dave Perry game after like 1998.
Earthworm Jim, really? You know, I wrote Earthworm Jim. Our live coverage brought to you by Slingbucks.
Thanks, Mark. It's truly an honor to be here with everyone in the room and the millions watching live around the world. I can't tell you how excited the Gaikai team and I are to be working on the PlayStation 4 platform. They're actually back at our office watching live through the internet right now, so hi everyone. As Mark mentioned, I've proudly spent nearly all of my life playing and creating video games. We all remember powering up our first PlayStation and the adrenaline rush that followed. It wasn't just a piece of hardware that gave us the goosebumps. It was knowing that the PlayStation would be delivering new experiences that pushed the gaming forward into completely new territories. And that's precisely what we're doing with PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Network, integrated with our Gaikai technology. PlayStation 4 is an incredible
Just
platform.
here to announce the merch table.
T-shirts in the back, CDs if you'd like of our...
On the vision of the PlayStation 4. With the network, you'll fight together, you'll become champions together, and you'll conquer the world together. The gamer is at the center of the PlayStation Network, so every decision that we're making for the network is scrutinized to ensure that it delivers on what gamers want.
Is it just me, or has he literally not said anything yet?
What we're creating is the fastest, most powerful...
Where's the streaming at? Where are my PS3 streaming titles, Dave Perry?
The PlayStation Network will get to know you by understanding your personal preferences.
Well, it's very googly.
Preferences of your community.
We'll get to know you.
Into useful information.
Download games before you even know you want them.
So like when your friends...
Anybody can get to know you on PSN. Anybody can just get right in there.
And with the
when are they going to
take all your personal information?
Well. Yeah, right.
Free exploration possible.
When we publish your data to the internet.
PlayStation 4 game in the PlayStation Store. So imagine you're in the store. You're checking out the latest titles and you see something that catches your eye. No problem. You can simply press the X button to hop in and start playing the game. Now in the past, not all games were available, and the ones that were had to be kind of the light version, where they had been edited down so that they could be downloaded reasonably quickly. With Gaikai in the PlayStation Store, you'll be able to instantly experience anything that you want.
Anthony, how does Gaikai differ from OnLive, and why did it succeed where OnLive failed?
You know, I think that it was just a matter of the Gaikai executives and Dave Perry just had a better relationship with Sony. And I think we're more willing to be bought. I think OnLive genuinely wanted to become the next big thing, the next big gaming platform, whereas Gaikai was maybe just looking for the parachute.
Right. Well, we got it.
Networks such as Facebook are obviously critical to how we stay in touch with our friends and current events around the world. But they don't know your PlayStation gaming history and all your preferences, nor those of your friends. They don't know.
I mean, so far, everything we've heard has been pretty much stuff that we've come to expect from services like Steam on the PC, right?
The presumption is this is how PS4 can provide compatibility with PS3 games.
Our vision
is that right?
Yeah, that's what people are speculating. So we'll be able to go back through all the other Sony consoles now and not have to worry about building that backwards compatibility in through hardware anymore. Right now, he's just talking about streaming demos, which I also think is very valuable because it often takes as much time and bandwidth to download a demo as it does to download an entire game.
It's our job at PlayStation.
And I think most people used OnLive and Gaikai as a way to get demos of things they wanted to buy.
Yeah.
Which is why they both failed. Nobody actually ever bought anything on them.
With that one button, you can broadcast from your game live, 100% real time, to your friends.
So a camera on the controller to you as well?
Well, it sounds like Twitch TV, but I noticed that they didn't mention Twitch TV, they mentioned Ustream. So
we're making it so that your friends can actually
in partnership with Ustream, I guess they'll do something like Twitch, right?
While you're playing.
Now this is actually a good coup for Ustream.
Look out.
Yes.
You can solicit support.
This is good news
them,
for Ustream because, of course, we've already seen integration with YouTube's live streaming on several titles coming out now. And, of course, Twitch.tv is Justin.tv's offering this video game focus. Ustream has really been idle and missed a lot of opportunity here, so it's good that they secured this.
And assist. We're building this capability into the PlayStation 4.
So somebody can come and help you.
So that your circle of PSN friends.
Well, and this, it sounds like a joke, but this is what I've been doing. I've been, most of my video game experiences, I've been live streaming on Justin.tv/GameSchoolBrian. That's how we played through the Walking Dead game. That's where we played through Portal 2. And it matters if you have just a few people watching in a chat room offering ideas or strategies.
It's actually really fun. I did a little of that with Skyrim, too, and I know you did that with the Old Republic and on TWiT, and it's people enjoy watching, especially with the commentary, the live ongoing commentary.
It's the kind of thing that on paper seems so stupid, but is so underestimated. People really love watching other people play video games.
Look at the success Twitch.tv has. Amazing.
Schedule a set time and broadcast your gameplay live to anyone that you want to invite. In summary,
it's very good for Ustream.
Hardware architecture for PlayStation Network was designed to facilitate and integrate social aspects throughout all phases of the gaming experience. The PlayStation Network wraps you in your favorite content wherever you are, across the PS4, the PS3, the PS Vita, smartphones, and tablets. And we're going to give developers a simple, elegant solution for enhancing their PS4 games on second screens. A key feature enabled by second screens is remote play.
There we go.
We believe so much in remote play that it's been built into the architecture of the PlayStation 4. So how are we unlocking remote play's potential with this next generation? The answer is PlayStation Vita. PS Vita is the ultimate companion device for PS4, enabling gamers to put their games from their beautiful...
This is why nobody does announcements in New York anymore. He's literally being drowned out.
But your kids have just taken over the living room. What do? Well, it's easy. You just use remote play to transfer the game over to your PS Vita. Now, as you saw,
this is just like AirPlay,
on this game,
right? For gaming.
PS4. So we brought a surprise for him today by using remote.
Wow, man!
Play,
just like that, the Vita got relevant again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is something, cross-play and remote play are something that have been supported in a limited way on the PS3 and the Vita so far.
Remote play
but if this is at a system level and it works for everything now,
the two consoles.
That's huge.
Using the full graphical capabilities of the PlayStation 4, and on Vita we're taking advantage.
So this is streaming to the Vita. This is not being played on the Vita. It's streaming
as well as
to the Vita.
The sophisticated mobile controls.
I was expecting you to say cool. So okay, spoken like a true system architect. Our long-term goal is to make every PlayStation 4 title playable on the PS Vita. I mean, if you think about that, even the demos that you're seeing today, some of the most incredible, we have some incredible things to show you. If you can imagine, we can make those games instantly playable on the PS Vita as well.
You know, something that they haven't announced that I think a lot of people are interested in is I want to see it go the other way. I've heard a lot of people say that they have Vita titles that they'd love to play on their TV when they're at home. And that just doesn't seem to be a focus yet.
The Gaikai technology into the PS4 system architecture.
Hopefully we hear something about that.
Into a game server, and the PS Vita becomes a client with remarkably fast connection speeds. Of course, the PlayStation Network and the PS4 will provide access to a vast array of other forms of entertainment beyond gaming. PlayStation gamers love all forms of entertainment, including watching movies, watching TV shows, listening to music. So PlayStation Network will have services including Sony's own Video Unlimited and Music Unlimited. And we're working with leading services like Netflix, Amazon Instant Video, and other media services to have them on the platform. We'll be announcing more specifics on this later in the year. Now, I've already mentioned a couple of ways that Gaikai's cloud technology and PlayStation Network will enhance the player's experiences. But PlayStation Network in the cloud can present additional value to PlayStation gamers.
Oh.
For example, over the past 6 years, PlayStation 3 has built an incredible catalog of titles that is unmatched in the industry. Although PS3 titles aren't natively supported on the PS4,
what do you think?
We're exploring some very unique opportunities enabled
I think
by
I may
cloud
fall in love with Dave
technology
Perry.
with the long-term vision of making PS3 games ubiquitous on any device. The technology
On your
is
Vita,
so advanced that someday we could easily put PS1, PS2, PS3, and the PS Mobile games on any device.
I don't like when a Sony representative says someday.
This would fundamentally
I like
change
hearing
the
a date.
concept of game
It's like
longevity.
AT&T.
But still,
Imagine
the fact that
having
they're even
access to
trying
all
to.
the
You
old
will.
games you
That's
love,
an
and the
ambitious
ability to get them
undertaking.
up and running in seconds wherever you are on whatever device you have near you.
One of the issues on OnLive was latency. Is Gaikai better in that regard?
PlayStation has put before our teams.
You know, I
That's the
don't know that
vision
they
of
were
the
any
PlayStation
better.
Cloud service.
Isn't
I
that
gotta
a
say,
problem?
At the very least, I would imagine if you're running on a home network, you're taking less hops. You know, if the server is
Yeah, but
right
that's
there.
fine. But what if you're playing a PS3 game streamed from Gaikai servers somewhere else?
This is not an investment into advanced technology.
I gotta say, OnLive for me was good enough. Gaikai was good enough to play most things. There were certain games that I just would never, I would never try. I would never try shooters. I would never try fighters.
Right.
But for general stuff, it was really good. Of course, I'm also in San Francisco with a really decent broadband connection.
Will change the way that we play. Now, I've described the vision and the strategy behind PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Network. Let's hear how some of the world's most accomplished developers are using it as their virtual platform to turn their creative dreams into reality. Thank you.
That's Dave Perry, CEO of Gaikai, and now we're at a tape pre-roll with various developers. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I just want to say that the subtext of that entire announcement was no hardware backwards compatibility to PX3
right.
stuff.
But via streaming, via Gaikai, you'll be able to play your old PS3, 2, and 1 games.
I wonder, you know, I wonder if at least one generation of backwards compatibility isn't just the standard consumer.
That's what they did with the PS3, right? You had PS2 compatibility for a while, and then they killed it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think people are going to be a little disappointed in that, because to not even go one generation back, I mean, it's not like everybody's getting rid of these PS3 titles that are on their shelves anytime soon, you know?
You're watching live coverage of the PS3 announcement. Sony in New York City. Anthony Carboni from Revision 3 is with us. Brian Brushwood from NSFW. And we are brought to you today by Slingbox. The all-new Slingbox is totally redesigned, easier to hook up and use. The Slingbox 500 now features built-in Wi-Fi, HDMI connectivity, and full HD 1080p. Watch your home theater system anywhere you go, on your smartphone, your laptop, or your tablet. Anywhere there's an internet connection, you can even wirelessly archive photos and videos. Enjoy them on your TV at home or wherever you go, and the picture quality is amazing. Get the all-new Slingbox today at Best Buy, Amazon, or Fry's. Check it out at slingbox.com/twit. We thank Slingbox for making breaking news possible.
Everyone has, to some degree, some instinctive craft.
You know what? I think I'm going to come out in I'm okay with no hardware backwards compatibilities. I don't want to have to find
you don't care.
my old discs. I mean, I want to play those old games, but I'd much rather just download them and have them in there.
Yeah.
And especially if it's if they're able to play, like, imagine any PS1 game is now $4.99, and it's all instantly downloadable. It's like, I'd be so down for that.
So, for example,
downloadable, I'm okay with. If there's some sort of perhaps like an outreach program where you can throw a PS3 disc into your PS4 and it's like, okay, you bought this is legit. We'll give you this as a downloadable, or at least a discount. I would be okay with that. I just don't like the expectation of keeping the two boxes around and keeping the two sets of games around.
Looking more forward than backward, how does this affect Steam, their relationship with Steam, and the Steam box?
Yeah, I'm surprised that I was convinced that we were going to see tighter Steam integration, but that announcement made it clear that they're planning to duplicate a lot of those services. So I guess I have to amend that. I'm clearly wrong.
And it's x86, so it's presumably many of the same titles you'd see on a Steam box.
Well, and imagine this: if it's all x86, you could see conceivably a porting over to where you could play PS4 games on your
Steam,
on your PC. Yeah.
Historically, console games have been very much like lived in a tablet.
And that's probably why they're making such a big deal about social, about sharing. about the multi-screen. Those are things that a Steam box probably will not do, well, maybe Steam will try to get in that business, but so, at least as bad as Sony's social strategy is, at least they're ahead of Steam.
Well, I also think this last generation was so long, and gamers are so savvy now that this was the first generation I really saw as many people just talking about how there is no difference between a console and a PC except for the corporate logo on the box.
Right.
You know, that's not something that we used to talk about philosophically. As console gamers. So I think now their only differentiation is going to be the strength of their brand.
Yeah.
Because I think Steam and the Steam box is, if they really do support a certain Steam box architecture, they are just gonna eat everybody's lunch, and there's not gonna be any stopping it.
Really? You think that's gonna be the one to beat?
We're getting so, things are converging so much, devices are converging so much that we are all starting to look at our dressers. And I'm talking about people who are not even super techy, technologically inclined. They're looking at the box on their entertainment center, and they're going, all of these things do the same thing.
Right.
These are all the same box. Why can't I just have one box that does everything? And if somebody really makes that as easy and accessible as a Steam box would be, in theory, that's what's going to take everything.
Yep.
Now, you kind of blew my mind with this idea. Like, the Steam box is, of course, basically a PC meant to support Steam's big picture software.
Yeah, it's a $300 living room PC to compete with the PS4.
But what if just all of a sudden at E3, maybe even that's part of the reason for this announcement so early. What if Steam comes out at E3 this year and says, oh, by the way, the PS4 is a Steam box.
Is the Steam box, yeah.
Or is a Steam box, you know?
Or a
I don't know. They just fired a lot of hardware people over there, so I'd be surprised if it's going on there.
It's exactly what I'm thinking, Anthony, that this now maybe makes sense, that layoff makes sense in this context.
Yeah, that could be it. They could be it.
This is the hardware.
Yeah.
This is the box.
Kind of amazing.
So what is this, since we haven't been listening, what have they been saying?
It's just developers saying, we love it, we love it, we love it.
Welcome, Michael Denny.
Randy Pitchford was talking about how easy it is to ruin any license he's given on PlayStation.
Michael Denny now takes the stage.
So as you've heard from Mark and Dave, and as you've just seen in the video, there are a lot of very happy game developers out there right now, which is fantastic, because the future of PlayStation is about great games, inspiring new experiences from the imaginations of the world's best creators. In the past, creators' ambitions have often been constrained by the limitations of technology. PlayStation 4 will bring a new synergy between hardware, software, and the fastest, most powerful gaming network in the world, unlocking a new canvas for creativity. From the outset, our game creators have been given the opportunity to collaborate with our hardware and system software engineers to help shape PlayStation 4's unique feature set. So with this powerful synergy, deeper, more connected experiences, and a newer, emotional state of play.
Denny is the Vice President of Sony Worldwide Studios Europe.
We are privileged to work with the world's best development teams.
This is the in-house development team that you were talking about.
Reinventing existing franchises. PlayStation 4 has ignited their creativity to build exclusive new experiences that until now they could only have dreamt of. So, I guess what a lot of you have been waiting for, let's take an early look at some of their work. Please welcome on stage the Managing Director and co-founder of Guerrilla Games, Herman Hulse.
I expect this announcement to be somewhat light on actual detail. We know what the hardware is, so sort of.
In the near future,
they don't want to give away too much. E3 is still 3 months away, 4 months away.
However, there's a
well, and again, I guess that begs the question: Why
do it now?
Yeah. And the people of Vector.
You're giving Microsoft a chance to respond.
Much more than just resources. The Helghast are fighting for their right to exist, while the Vectans want to protect their way of life. The Helghast have evolved and claim genetic superiority. They are brutal and relentless in pursuit of their so-called justice against the Vectans. This war devastates.
Is it me because I'm not a gamer, or does this just sound inane?
Cold War Berlin.
Well, when you don't have a context, when I mean, I could describe if you've never seen Star Wars, and if I start,
yeah, I guess you're right. Okay, so you're a Hellcat fan.
For New Home and the lengths.
I mean, I'm not. I never played it. I only got a PS3 last month. PS3 was the one console that I never got around to picking up, and our friend Rob Krekel over at Sony Online finally is just like, shut up and here, take this one.
And again, you know, you see these at E3 as well, and it's so hard to judge what you're seeing. Is this real-time rendering? Is this a cutscene?
I'm betting this is all real time. I think there was a time that this would only be possible with cutscenes, but after what we saw from that earlier demo, I would imagine that.
But we don't know.
Brian Brushwood, professional magician. Come on. Why do you think they showed us the real-time demo first, man? So they could show us cutscenes for the next 2 hours.
Well played, sir. Well played.
This is real.
It's called misdirection, Mr. Schwood.
Now, even if the PS4 can do this in real time, and I'm not, you know, I would imagine that it can. So many points of failure in a live demo. This has got to be pre-rendered.
No, of course
even
it
if
is.
it is from game footage.
And that's a lot of stuff going on in the background there.
I'm ready to believe because I love all that stuff going on in the background there.
It's very detailed. A lot of smoke. A lot of sprites.
A lot of slides. Slide around.
They're drafting in units from all over.
This is a cutscene. Come on.
It's the waiting around that messes with your head.
Yeah.
Now you're here,
I think even if it is pre-rendered, it's pre-rendered in the actual game engine.
Right.
Back up. Let him through. This way, sir.
I don't know. I think I just saw some textures popping in.
Yeah, this actually now is starting to look like it's an actual game.
Sir, just a formality.
It's pretty good. But it's so hard to tell.
Clear. Please proceed.
So if you're just tuning in, we're watching live coverage of the Sony PlayStation. Keep showing it. You don't have to show me. Nobody wants to see me. Of the live PlayStation. Look, I'm real. I'm rendered. I'm 3D textiles. Ooh. The live Sony PlayStation 4 announcement. Yes, there is a PlayStation 4, an 8-way AMD processor with onboard GPU, GDDR5, 176 gigabytes per second throughput. Pretty massive machine. Big hard drive. Havoc engine. Because it is an x86 architecture. There's some physics.
Here's something I'm surprised we haven't heard anything about yet. Sony releases this new console with all this new graphics prowess. They just released a ton of 4K TVs, and nobody has anything to put on a 4K TV yet.
And what, do they put a Blu-ray in this, or do they put a Red Ray or something in it to play back 4K content? Is this hardware sufficient for 4K content?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm glad to hear you say that, Anthony, because that's something that I think that all of the 4K television manufacturers are missing the mark on by trying to sell, you know, we got grandparents who can't tell the difference between 480p and 1080p. It's like you're not going to convince them that they need a 4K display for, you know, to see Jeopardy even higher resolution. But however, younger gamers, people who want to use this as a monitor of exquisite resolution, I think would be all over this. And I think you're right. That could be the surprise announcement that they got.
Oh, you're thinking about, to go back to the Steam Box again, I don't know, it's a live stream of the Steam Box event or anything like that, but you get a $300 kind of 3K monitor off of eBay, and your Steam Box is pushing that resolution.
Sure,
and you can stream
sure.
whatever you want in that resolution. I would be shocked as a hardware manufacturer in the position that Sony's in if this did not even include some sort of very intelligent upscaling hardware.
Yeah, in fact, I'm going to almost guarantee you're going to hear the words 4K. If they want to future-proof this thing, I mean, think of how ridiculous this thing's going to look 3 years from now if it just can't output in 4K.
And right now it's looking pretty good, though. I'm liking how this is looking.
And in fact, if they're looking for a strategy, I wouldn't even be surprised if Sony has figured out that demand is soft for 4K displays, and they could be in a position to actually create the demand for it with the video game market.
I don't want to, if it announce price and availability, I don't want to go.
I mean, it's hard to tell from the quality of a live stream, obviously, and I'm sure there'll be releasing some trailers and assets after this, but I'm loving all the atmospheric effects. At least those are coming through, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the initial part was, in fact, pre-rendered, but now we're playing, obviously. And lots of fire and smoke and particles.
You're the bigger PC guy, Brian. If this popped up on your PC looking like this, how would you feel?
Oh, great. I mean, I'm telling you, it's you don't really notice, and this is one of the things. Nowadays, we tend to care a little bit more about art design. We care about gameplay mechanics. We care about particle physics and artificial intelligence, and all those things rely a bit on the hardware. But what I noticed the difference between PC gaming, and the reason that I'm so almost exclusive PC, is mainly for the control. Once you've gone WASD and a mouse, I mean, it's like it feels you dumb, stupid thumbs. You just want to cut them off and throw the controller away.
According to The Verge, there's somebody on stage live playing this.
There you go.
That's what I want. That's what you want to see.
But as far as the quality of the presentation,
look at that.
Yes, look at this.
I want to do that. I want to hold a rope from a jet helicopter and then shoot the guy inside. That's good. Don't shoot the pilot, though. That'd be my suggestion right now.
Well, and this is amazing because think about how much turf has to be being held in memory and rendered live. I mean, this whole city. I mean, you notice that we're traveling through, extreme distances, all without any pauses or load times or hiccups.
The Verge is reporting that the light bar on the controller is changing color as he moves through the game.
Nice.
I guess.
Yeah, keep in mind, we still haven't even heard what that new touchpad area is going to be used for on the controller.
I mean, used in the right way, a light bar like that as an extra indicator is I mean, it's not.
It could be health.
It's not the most
it could
useful
be
thing in the world.
Yeah,
but it's cool.
if it's health, yeah.
You know?
Is it? We don't know. Is it touch sensitive? Did they mention that?
I think there is the touchpad in the middle. That sensor and that camera are kind of off to the side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now somebody's saying that that's Move.
Oh yeah. It's definitely based on it's definitely going to be based on the Move technology, because the Move, of course, is the little wand with the ball on top of it, and then it's got a camera. So this is dual cameras, and then it's got the light in.
So as you fly or whatever, you're using the controller as your Move controller.
Potentially. I mean, I'd like to see them not lean on as much motion control as everybody tried to last generation, but it's nice that it's built in there because the extra accessory for Move was kind of exorbitantly expensive, and it hurts you in terms of audience adoption and in terms of developers who want to make something for that hardware.
So that was Killzone. Now it's time to drive. Is this GT6, Gran Turismo 6?
No, it looks Drive Club.
So. Drive Club,
okay. Gran Turismo 6 is probably 23 years away. Judging by the development.
Gran Turismo forever, you mean?
For never
and ever and ever.
It's called Drive Club. And it's all about team-based racing. I've waited so long to be able to tell you about it. It's existed as a concept at the studio for 10 years. We trademarked the name Drive Club 9 years ago. You can check it online. At its heart, it's always been a very simple concept about driving the very best cars in the world, in the greatest locations in the world, but crucially, doing it together.
Yeah.
And we've literally waited for the technology to be available to deliver our vision.
They trademarked this name 9 years ago.
We visited the greatest.
I don't know that that's like a sales point. I don't know that that's what you want to lead off with.
Yeah, this vision.
We've been having troubles with the development of this game for almost a decade.
We wrote Drive Club for men.
Not even just
and now I'm a member.
Races, but about people. About collaborative gameplay with friends in teams. Next generation no longer just means more powerful hardware. We're the next generation of gamer. We want to play great-looking games like this, but in new ways that fit our permanently connected social lives.
It sounds like
and
a young
us,
Bricktop from
that means driving
Snatch.
in a team,
You know what Nemesis
Drive
means.
Club is a game to play in real clubs, asynchronously and in real time, against other clubs all around the world. The gameplay isn't
But they're all
specifically
talking
about
like
race,
this.
It's about challenges and rewards you for playing in groups even if you aren't top of the leaderboard, much like the best squad-based first-person shooters do. I can also fire up the
I was going to
Drive
say,
Club
kind of
app on my
interesting.
phone
We're looking
or
at
tablet,
racing
pick a race
as
type,
multiplayer
pick
instance
cars,
raids now.
pick any time of day,
That's kind of
any
neat.
weather, at any time of the year, set a time, and then send that challenge
Oh, that's
all
cool.
around the
I
world.
think that
Then
does
I
sound like
can
fun.
watch the
So that's
drama
not that you
unfold
can't do that now.
hundreds of players and clubs
There's some games that
try
have
to become the best at
asynchronous
my
racing
challenge.
for sure, and you
We're
can send
talking
challenges.
24/7, untethered access to
My
your club,
favorite
no
instance of
matter where you
asynchronous
are,
multiplayer
home
of the
or
last
away.
generation was probably
Plus, whether it's a
SSX,
short team drag
which was
race
all
or a
asynchronous. Like
weekend-long
ghosts of your friends would just appear on the mountain as you were
The
boarding.
snowboarding game. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it does make a lot of sense now. It's not as easy to get everybody together on a couch as it used to be, and it's not as easy to get everybody together at one time as it used to be. So asynchronous for a racing game or a sports game, I'm really all about.
Well, and keep in mind also, like this target demographic, you know, there's a reason they've been talking about their 20-year history with the PlayStation franchise is these
Bunch of
people
old
who
farts.
started with it, a lot of them have kids, and it changes what kind of games you're able to play. I don't play MMOs because I can't afford to have other people need to depend on me to be there because I need to be able to get up and walk away at any given moment. And if they cater to that, if they build this kind of tribalism with a group of racers and you act as a team, I could see that as being highly addictive because then you have the social peer pressure to get around to doing your race to help out the team.
Photometric apparatus. We've gone borderline insane with real-world details and subtleties. We've modeled the direction of each microscopic metallic flake of paint in multiple layers. We've emulated the effect of each individual thread in the weave of the carbon fiber.
See, this is not a good way to sell me on it. Telling me about threads is not going to make me want to play your game.
Multiple layers of reflectors and
Well,
lenses.
but this is aimed at a car enthusiast now.
Yeah,
not-
car fans go nuts for this stuff.
Car porn.
When
Yeah.
you wax the plastic.
You think about people who play the GTA and play Forza, and they want to know that the grain of leather in the interior matches, you know?
Or touch.
That's an interesting market.
In fact, let's climb.
I don't
into
drive,
the
I just look around my car.
This isn't cockpit view. This is
Actually, that does
true
describe a lot of car
first-person.
enthusiasts.
I don't actually drive it.
What is it feeling?
It's not straight leg.
Opening
What
the
the hell
door.
is that?
Breathing
Oh.
in the experience.
You can smell the new car smell.
Strapping yourself in.
Strap it on.
And firing
Actually, this is not bad.
Fire
This
it
kinda
up.
makes me want to be a car porn enthusiast.
It is car porn.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's such a thrill for a studio to
Yeah,
be
this looks
asked
like
to
fun,
help
actually.
define new PlayStation technology so that we can finally bring our vision for team-based racing to life. That's just a brief glimpse of Drive Club. That's just a brief glimpse of Drive Club. We can't wait to show you more.
It is a brief
Please
glimpse.
do. We're right here. We have all the time in the
Yeah,
world.
we're just
It's just
so
show
we've
us a little
decided, and we're talking to Steve Huffman right now. We decided to keep going with this announcement. We were going to stop and do triangulation, but if Steve will reschedule, I think we will just stay with this because I don't want to leave and then find out when it's available and how much.
To find out that yet another British person was on the stage.
Yes. Oh my God.
Ah, see, this is great. What they're doing is they're gamifying social status.
Yeah,
It's going to become, you're going to have these teenagers freaking out about being in this elite group or that elite group.
But
This
you
is
can't-
great. A death match is basically
You
what
can't
they're
do a
bringing.
dungeon. You can't do a dungeon quest this way, though. You have to. Some games you have to all be in the same room.
It's interesting because EA did some of this, really kind of dipped into the asynchronous competition thing with the latest Need for Speed and the auto log. And it's really interesting because you're riding around in this kind of persistent city and things are just kind of popping up, new challenges. It'll let you know that somebody did this track 5 seconds faster than you did. And if that kind of stuff stays persistent and then also lets you know, like, this team just beat you on this track. And here's where some of this mobile companion app stuff I think becomes interesting, is if you can engender this sort of tribalism, like Brian called it, and then you get a warning on your phone that you just lost on a track to another club, you're going to jump onto your PS4 as soon as possible.
I'd always thought the police were there to protect me, to protect the people that I cared about. But on that day, they didn't. We all want to feel safe, right? But it is hard to put your finger on what that sense of security is worth. However, it is easy to say what it costs.
He's a good actor. What is happening? He's a good actor.
Right now, there are 4.2 million security cameras distributed all around Great Britain.
I believe this is Watch Dogs.
That is one.
Oh yeah, no, this is
Watch Dogs.
Citizens.
So good.
In 2011, the U.S. government seized the personal cell phone records of 1.3 million of its citizens. There are 1,200 of us in here today. 4 of us have been monitored. And 2 years ago, American travelers spent a combined.
It's really great that Alex Jones was able to make it out to this event.
Security. You add that all up, that is 1,000 lifetimes lost in line in just 1 year.
Boy, you really want to make sure that the PSN guy doesn't come back out after this.
Of freedom.
No, Mark, hang back, dude.
Picture how things would change, how the world would react if a handful of people suddenly developed superhuman abilities.
I mean, I would imagine it's an electric performance if you're there to
without
inject
ever pulling
this
a trigger
fake
or
reality.
fuse. These people would be living, breathing weapons that could pass through any
I mean, essentially, the guy comes out and does a one-act play, one-man show.
Or even a strip search, completely undetectable. We already live in a culture of fear. Picture how things would change.
Asynchronous strip searching. That's a new feature of the PlayStation.
Over our own lives? And which of us would have
strip
the
searched.
courage
Wow, look at the lighting.
to fight to get our freedoms
This guy's an
back?
actor. This is no...
I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this at one of these events. Anthony, have you seen anything like that?
Sucker Punch's
It
latest
doesn't tend to
game,
get this theatrical. I do feel like the guy at the lighting board has been waiting all of his life at trade shows to do this. He's like, now's my time.
Your safety is our top priority. The TWiT control.
Nate Fox of Sucker Punch showing his acting skills.
Oh. Infamous. That's what
Is it infamous?
This is an open.
You want to talk about a magic trick? The fact that some guy come out and to your face says my family was killed and tells a story, and then you figure out like, oh wait, this is a lie, this is a story. But like by then you're already engaged and you're sucked into this story like nothing else.
I don't know. B2 status?
What should we do?
B2 repeat status.
On me. Keep your eyes peeled. The TWiT is in control of the situation.
We got him! Lost B2.
Check in B5, B5.
Over there.
Now, this is all exciting and wonderful, but how are they going to position this against the next generation Xbox? What are they going to do that the next generation Xbox can't do?
Well, again, people are asking, you know, including me, why now to have this event?
Yeah.
As far as the world knows, there ain't another Xbox. They're owning the whole narrative and hogging the spotlight.
That's why, you think?
And so they don't need to. And obviously, Wii U is obviously not even a contender against this kind of power.
Right. Yeah, Nintendo's a little left out here.
Well, I think, you know, when you just asked what's Xbox going to do to kind of combat this or respond to this, it's the same thing that Nintendo didn't do that put them in such a bad state right now, which is, once again, these are all the same box now. This is all the same, you know, architecture underneath, and you're going to live and die by your internal first-party teams and the games that they're making.
Yep.
Thanks,
It was infamous, not
It was infamous Second Son.
Right.
Game introduction of the night there.
Name of the game.
And thanks to all the guys for
No
introducing
live
three
gameplay of the
already
last two
amazing-looking
titles,
games
Drive Club or
that not only look
Infamous.
fantastic, but allow a depth
So-
of gameplay that will take our players to a new level of immersion. PlayStation has always been proud to offer the best gameplay experiences. Now, often that means deeper and more intense versions of experiences that we know we already love. But sometimes best can mean things that are surprising, things that don't always fit, Things that can help us pioneer new ways to play and embrace the unexpected.
Like GT6?
PlayStation
Oh,
will
here
always
comes
be a
one of their
leader in
weird
encouraging
Sony
creators
ideas.
You can feel it, can't you?
Oh boy, we're about to get Wonder Booked. We're going to get Wonder Booked so hard right now.
Established teams in their quest to take creative risks that other publishers simply won't take. In the next few minutes, we would like to take you on an adventure into the imaginations of three amazing creators who continue to inspire us with their unique visions. The first comes from one of the world's most acclaimed independent developers. PlayStation remains steadfast in our support for the indie development community. By offering self-publishing on PlayStation Network, we'll continue to provide the most open console to enable smaller developers to easily bring their breakthrough titles to PlayStation gamers.
The guy speaking now, Michael Denny, is with Sony Worldwide Studios Europe, the in-house developers. But now he's a handoff to the independent developers.
I got to tell you, last year, Sony absolutely crushed it by bringing in the most indies, the most interesting out there games. They really took it over from Xbox. Jonathan Blow is about to show us The Witness, I think. This is going to be great.
Hey, I really don't know what I'm going to do to follow up after all those explosions, but we'll see what happens.
Loaded Braid, which was very cool.
Anyway, due to the success of Braid, we've managed to found a new small development studio, and we've been working on our new game, which is called The Witness, for 3.5 years now. It's a game where you explore a mysterious abandoned island and solve the puzzles that you find there. But at its heart, at its core, it's a game about epiphany, that instantaneous transition of the mind that takes you from confusion to understanding. You know, 1 minute your situation seems impossible. You have no idea what the solution to your problem would even look like. And then the next minute you see everything. It's all very simple and clear. And you wonder how you couldn't have seen this solution before.
So Braid was an Xbox Live game.
A lot of games have
he was very critical in the end of Xbox Live, and I guess
but in the
he
Witness,
switched teams.
Take this aha
Braid was definitely the game that let people know that they could download games on their Xbox. That was definitely the one. That and Castle Crashers. This one is getting a lot of comparisons to Myst.
Yeah, it sounds like the way he's describing it.
Games in open worlds try to make their worlds.
By the way, if anybody is unfamiliar with it, you should definitely check out Indie Game the Movie on Netflix Instant Streaming, featuring among other people our very own Anthony Carboni. On a movie.
In a movie.
That's
and
me
this
in
guy.
The movie. And John Blow is there.
Wherever you're standing in this open world, there are 3 or 4 different destinations with completely different themes within 20 seconds of walking from where you are. New interesting things around every corner. And everything in the world is carefully placed, and everything is where it is for a reason.
It's a
lot of
puzzler,
games
though.
try to pad their playtime so that they seem long. But in this game, we work very, very hard to cut anything that's redundant. There's no filler. Now, it's a puzzle game, but the puzzles aren't just arbitrary. They don't exist just to be puzzles.
In a way, what he's describing is
has an
the
idea
process of making a movie where you tell a story and you really lead the person through the story, as opposed to the open gaming, something like Infamous, where it's an open world.
Absolutely. There's been a real trend earlier this year or end of last year with Journey and other smaller indie games where it's like it's more about creating a really brilliant world and letting the game be just as long as it needs to be and not adding all these extra modes, not adding these ice levels or whatever else it used to be that would just pad this stuff. So I'm really interested in this stuff. I think a lot of people are a little resistant to it because it means shorter games.
No, I'm with you. I'm a big fan of shorter games. Portal 1 was the perfect length for me. I think the problem is I'd be curious if there are any metrics on how many people actually finish these longer games.
It's also a game as narrative, and I think then this becomes a work of art in some interesting ways, much like a movie would be. So we're in the woods. There's a record player in a tree stump.
As there tends to be.
As often is the case.
Great, another record player tree stump game.
That's so predictable.
If a phonograph plays in the forest and there's no one there to hear it.
I mean, stylistically, just look
It's
at
interesting.
this.
Yeah, we're not talking high texture pixel counts here. This is
we're not
painted.
hearing about carbon threads in the
And this
couches.
is what Brian was talking about, man. Show me you've got an art director.
Yeah.
Show me you got somebody who knows how to use this.
Yeah. And something different.
Yeah. Like, I love Killzone. That Killzone demo was a great
As good as it
Killzone.
looks, but it feels like yet another first-person shooter.
Well, and it was Gary Whitta who just tweeted after seeing that Killzone demo. He said, the technology evolves. I wish the gameplay would kill that guy. It's all.
Although it's kind of cool to hang on to a rope shooting at a gunship with a pistol, but you feel like you've been there before in some ways. This is very Myst-like. Wow, that was totally out of Myst. We're shining a light.
And see, I feel like this is great because Myst was amazing, but Myst, you know, we didn't know as much about player psychology and puzzle design as we do now. And if you can make a Myst that is a little more endearing to people, because most of my memories of Myst are like, I couldn't do it. You know, most of my memories of Myst are like looking up the answer.
Yeah, like, what the?
You know, and you're right, because it's the psychology, the advancement of learning how gamers think, and the built-in training in the early levels to set up expectations. I think they figured out the science of the aha moment.
Speaking of Killzone, at the end of the playthrough you saw earlier, Stephen hit the new share button and uploaded it directly to the Killzone Facebook page. So as soon as we're done here, please go check it out. Okay.
I could do that right now.
So what follows now are not game presentations, but a glimpse of the future.
Wonderbooked.
Sure to challenge your current vision
Straight
of
up
gaming.
Wonderbooked.
Two of our wonderfully talented creators will give us an early glimpse into their concepting process and demonstrate what is possible when you combine PlayStation 4 with unbridled creativity. So first up, please welcome, from the award-winning Quantic Dream, David Cage.
Here's a guy I can't figure out whether I like him.
Who is he?
He's the guy who made Heavy Rain and...
Well, he's creative.
Yeah, he's definitely creative.
When people ask me, what is the feature you want the most on future hardware platforms?
No, he's French. There's your problem.
Always the same.
That's just another form of British in my book.
Getting the player emotionally involved is the holy grail of all game creators. We all try to trigger intense, subtle, and diverse emotions. We try to make players forget that this is just a program animating pixels on the screen.
French really do live in a different world when it comes to video games.
We want them to leave it and suspend their disbelief, experiencing that magic moment where they live in a different reality. Emotion is something complex and challenging to capture. It's conveyed by graphics, animation, sound, cinematography, dialogue, of course, gameplay.
So you want to talk about a showman. This guy is a showman.
Technology is very important.
I saw a demo that he did at E3, and he can talk you into thinking you're seeing just about anything.
Some films were
and then not tell you a single concrete detail. I think we're about to see Beyond Two Souls.
That's a PlayStation 3 title, though, isn't it?
Heavy technical constraints.
I wonder if they moved it.
Actors had to exaggerate their moves to convey.
Tell you what, I'm not impressed with these graphics, though.
As well as photography were barely concepts at the time. Cinema really became what it is today.
Yeah, when a French guy starts talking cinema, can Jerry Lewis be far behind?
Create the subtle emotions they wanted on screen. Eventually, they developed sound, color, lighting, and higher resolution formats, and suddenly
These are all clips from
the audience could see in the eyes of the actors
old movies.
Thomas Edison shorts.
when they were about to cry. Pantomimes were not necessary anymore because the most subtle nuances of emotions.
He's, of course, talking about the way you tell stories, the complexity of what you can experience is directly affected by the type of technology, and that's true for almost all kinds of storytelling mediums.
In 1999, Quantic Dream's first game, Omicron, featured characters.
Wish they had you up there saying that. I feel like we'd be done by now.
Characters were around 1,500 polys. Heavy Rain's character were about 15,000. Chara at 20,000. This year, Jodie Holmes and Beyond will be about 30,000.
Okay, so this will be something
Beyond.
new that he's showing.
On PlayStation 4, this is what you can get.
Ah, you're right. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
We have created the ugliest man in the history of time.
You know, but no uncanny valley. That is very, very realistic.
Realistic ice shaders, volumetric lights, 3D depth of field, and many other features.
You feel like he's, going to say something to you.
The wispy hair.
To CG films.
Wow.
This is the quality that we will get in future games. And we know we can go even further.
No, I wonder if that's why they did an old man character.
Features,
right.
we start to reach a point where you can see very subtle emotions on the face of a character, where you can feel his emotions just looking at his face.
I wonder if this is motion captured.
Where
Must
you can
be.
see soul just looking into his eyes.
He uses
when you look at this old man, you can imagine who he is,
animation.
what he thinks, what happened to him. Without him
well, this is good. This is people wonder like why should we obsess about technology and higher polygon counts? But the last frontier for video games, the thing that no console's been able to do outside of a couple of select instances, is evoke deep emotions of crying at video games. First time I ever cried at a video game ever was this year.
We saw you.
Yeah, thank you.
You were on TV.
I was on TV.
And, but that was at the Walking Dead game, right?
The Walking Dead game
has nothing to do with polygon count.
Right.
Well,
you don't need the waxy hair. You don't need the teary eyes for that.
You
That was
just
your storytelling.
need zombies.
If what you need to do is to establish a connection and make you really fall in love with a character, so when they're lost, it breaks your heart, then it matters how clearly you see them in your mind and on the screen. So in that regard,
Can we just draw attention to the fact that they brought David Cage out to show a head and then he ran away?
That's it. That's all we saw.
He had nothing. He had
a head
nothing.
in some old movies. He didn't even name the game.
Here's an old
He doesn't have a
man.
game. He's got a head.
He's got a head.
Look at that neck. It's leather. He's got a leathery neck.
Now how much would you pay?
Use this amazing device.
I love these guys. You want to talk about creativity and art direction. The
Like a
Media
molecule?
Molecule guys are unbelievable.
It takes many forms these days, whether it's taking a picture, cosplaying as Kratos, or 3D printing a customized character. It's easier than ever to show off your skills, and with the internet, you can reach millions of people. So, creation is everywhere, but it can feel kind of...
They're the folks who did Little Big Planet, which I really loved.
How can we cut through all the crap?
And that was quite innovative, I think.
Absolutely. You know, just in terms of, you want to talk about creator content and community content and involvement, I think Little Big Planet really leads the way.
You see, the PlayStation 4 for us...
And that was a PS3 exclusive, wasn't it?
It was. It was. These guys were bought up. They are Sony now.
But they're not independents anymore.
To experience other people's dreams or to make your own, it's the place you go to create. And the only question for us was how. When we looked at how people create digitally, especially in 3D, things just haven't changed in the last 5 or 10 years. As a graphics programmer, vertices, textures, UV mapping, they've been the bane of my life and the artists I've worked with for many years. I call it the tyranny of the polygon. And so we asked ourselves, how could PlayStation 4...
That vomit's making me want to cry right now.
Insane power per dollar that only a next-gen console deliver. How can we sweep away the techie mess? How can we redefine
This is an exceptional demo.
Overcome the tyranny of the polygon? So we've done 2 years of research into this, from to stereo cameras, to advanced user interfaces, touch interfaces. Basically, we tried everything, and it got more and more complicated, more and more...
All we got was a creepy old man with waxy skin. So back to the drawing board.
And precise tools for 3D creation.
Nice old man head, jerk. Get ready for my drawings.
But it is interesting that the Little Big Planet really was canvas. The characters were made out of canvas. You didn't have to worry about making it look real like humans.
It's taken us so long to realize this, but we're going to marry you with
Well,
the
and I think there's two ways to involve people and get them involved emotionally, and it's show them a real person feeling real emotions, which I think is what David Cage is trying to do.
And extremely hard to do because of the uncanny valley.
Yeah, and then the other way is just put so much style and emotion into a world that people can pour themselves into the sort of it's the Mickey Mouse thing.
It's Abe's Odd World.
Real fun, making, collaborating,
and you just put yourself in that character. I love Sackboy. He's one of my favorite video game characters.
Yeah, and it's just a sack. It's a canvas bag.
It's a free-form creative journey that I
This
think
is
a little
interesting.
bit like cloud watching, except that you can reach in at any time and change and shape it to whatever's in your head.
What?
Behind me, you can see a time-lapse of one of our sculpts playing back literally...
You're watching live coverage of the Sony PlayStation 4 announcement. They have announced new hardware. Not much detail about price, availability. And ever since that early announcement, it's been games, games, games. Right now, Media Molecule, creators of Little Big Planet, showing what they want to do with the
It's a
PS4.
kind of performance. You're able to put down your ideas as fast as you can think of them. It's this combination of the PlayStation 4's power with the Move's unique accuracy, which allows us to ditch all of the 2D fiddly camera control.
See, again, this is great. They're continuing to hammer on their message that it's not numbers for numbers' sake, but it's numbers so that you can do things that were never done before. You can tell stories and create characters.
To use the creativity of all of these people to collage and create ever larger sets, game levels, stories, with the simplest possible interface. You just hold your controller and click to assemble your dream.
So this is a kind of a SimCity style game. You're building something.
Looks like these are their new level editors. And these are their new creator editors.
It's not the game itself. It's just
not the game itself. And it looks like what they're doing is this is 3D sculpting with a Move controller.
Very interesting.
In one take, it's someone's dream brought to life with PlayStation 4.
And now
I'm gonna rock your face
Ozzy
off with this
Osbourne. Look at that. With Move controllers, they've created clay puppets. They're making dance. Although,
well, I just bought a PS4. I just bought.
Really, you really want to do that? You've been waiting for this, huh?
You know, there's something about, and it's
modern puppeteering.
It's an idea that I love, and it also shows I have an unrealistic image of myself because I always see myself as the person who's going to use all these creative creation tools, but I'm not.
Yeah. How many levels did you create on Little Big Planet?
I bought a Kratos costume.
You didn't even make it?
No, I bought it.
It's a burlap sack.
Now he's a burlap sack that looks like Kratos.
This is really an interesting take on Rock Band. They're playing the instruments with their Move controllers.
Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? This is the original.
Say again. You've been drowned out by Ozzy Osbourne here. What?
This is the original Wii demo in terms of feeling, in terms of giving me that, oh my gosh, I'm going to create
something the Move never did. Something the Move couldn't do.
That's a really good point, Leo, because, again, Move always looked like a Me Too thing, and maybe it still does here, but at least they're telling their own story now.
This is puppeteering, which I find very intriguing. And you build the puppets. It looks like you build the puppets yourself.
But it's great because it actually injects you into the narrative in a very real way. Not in a I'm pretending to be this rock star, but like you're the puppeteer of this rock star.
Right.
Thanks very much, Alex. Although we've only shown glimpses of these new exclusive titles and some creative explorations being developed for PlayStation 4, I think you'll agree that our worldwide studios team and the indie community is pushing the boundaries into how games look, feel, and interact. Of course, the development teams that comprise worldwide studios aren't the only ones focusing their efforts on PlayStation 4. We have long-standing relationships going back to the original PlayStation with some of the most iconic and influential developers in the world. And I'm proud to announce that virtually every major third-party partner across North America, Europe, Japan, and Asia
is Oculus Rift in there?
Right?
Look.
Today, we'll be sharing
we want a
with
3D
you some
helmet.
amazing new titles, but we're just scratching the surface of the full roster that we'll show throughout the year. To help demonstrate this point,
throughout the
please
year,
join me in welcoming our first
parse
guest,
that.
Yoshinori Ono from Capcom.
Give me a date.
Yeah.
Give me a price.
Are we going to spend the next 12 months looking at game demos?
Probably. That's all right.
Yep.
I'm a sucker for game demos.
So here's the thing. What's the over-under on these announcements first, but what's the over-under on Xbox actually being first to market?
Ah, interesting.
Sony likes a long hype train.
Yeah. Well, they've created the longest ever.
Good evening, everyone. And good morning those in Japan. I have really been looking forward to tonight's presentation. You have no idea.
That's the weirdest British accent I have ever heard.
I almost started to say that, but then I thought I didn't want to keep hammering on it.
You
stole my joke.
Damn you.
I hope you are eager to listen as well. This event is being streamed to Japan as we speak. So we will be conducting this presentation in both Japanese and English.
And which one is this?
おはようございます。これから日本語で僕がプレゼンテーションをさせていただきます。カプコンは今までのタイトル、テクノロジーの進化、これはプレイステーションと一緒に歴
Don't
史
you
を
feel like you can almost understand Japanese?
Well, you certainly understand the emotions behind it. We've now watched enough YouTube clips from their game shows to get things are going.
プレイステーション1の時代、我々は 2D アニメーションからバイオハザードというタイトルで 3D に大きく変革を
At least 3/4 of the words are English.
The technology of the original PlayStation allowed us to move beyond the 2D sprites to which we'd grown accustomed and break new ground with IPs such as Resident Evil.
This guy sounds like his hype man.
And it has nothing to do with what he's saying in Japanese, I might point out.
The DVD-ROM technology and the emotion engine brought to us by the PlayStation 2 allowed us to create visually stunning titles that took advantage of newly developed graphical engines. Titles such as the Onimusha series and Devil May Cry would not have been possible without the technology that the PS2 brought to the table.
And then we made a lot of bad things. Got a little lost for 5 to 10 years.
The PSP allowed us for the first time to take our PlayStation
Monster Hunter Freedom. Who could forget?
Communication technology to bring such
I gotta say, if you can get into the Monster Hunter series, you'll become obsessed. Obsessed. But they're front heavy. There's a good 10 hours of figuring out what the game is about first. It's very, very Japanese game design.
Just get a costume and
the Street Fighter series could muster.
Make him look like Kratos.
The progression and evolution of the Resident Evil series and the utter fear that it instills, all this immersion, all these fantastic effects, we owe it to the PlayStation 3 format.
我々はこのプレイステーション4の時代、新しい時代へ走ってみたいと思っています。
And now here we are with the announcement of the PlayStation 4. We are proud to help usher in a new era of entertainment.
我々は今まで MT フレームワークというエンジンを使って開発をし続けてきました。
We've been hard at work developing a new engine suited to the PlayStation 4 and its power, the next evolutionary step from our MT framework engine.
PlayStation 4、この新しいビジネススタイル、そして新しいグラフィックエンジンに対応する新しいエンジン作りを今進めています。
We continue to refine this engine to ensure that it takes advantage of the incredible technology, power, and business style that the PlayStation 4
Do you think they've got anything in motion, or is it going to be this slideshow?
I don't
know. I'm having a really hard time thinking about anything but like how much I'd like to be playing the previous games.
Bring back the puppets!
Yeah. Necessary to harness it will allow us to take game design in entirely new directions.
本日はこのパンタレーの上で動いている新しい
Panta Ray is the name of their engine.
PlayStation 4の上で実際動いている映像を今日は皆さんにお届けしたいと思います。
I'd like to show you a little something. It represents a new IP running on the PlayStation 4 using the Panta Ray engine.
Here we go.
It's a Panta and Amanda Ray.
So I guess we'll assume this is real time.
You might be wrong.
Probably.
That looks like a cutscene. Working title is Deep Down.
My useless magic could have me poking lines in the old market for 1/10 the hassle of your empty venture.
Yes, more British.
I'll be following him anyway. Let's find this bloody third gate.
Wow, is this gameplay?
That is interesting. Look at the mud. Look at the icicles. The dripping.
This feels filthy, like Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I mean, this is great.
It's good. Yeah, you can smell the fur.
Dragon's Dogma team looks very similar.
There's
there's a dragon.
Also, there's a dragon. And fire. Seems shooting a flaming arrow into a dragon really wouldn't do that much. This looks good.
Yeah, this is the spectacle that I was expecting. You know, it makes me think that maybe Killzone, as their first offering, was on purpose to start with something very traditional and get more and more innovative as they went.
Exactly. Yeah, because makes Killzone feel very kind of commonplace. Little too much fire.
Pretty cool.
Hot.
From Blanca.
Interesting. So if that really is just some sort of online, dirty, team-based monster-killing game that's a little more action than Monster Hunter was, I'm in.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Sure.
PlayStation 4という新しいアイテム、そして新しい力を使って我々は皆さんに
Is it like Monster Hunter, the good parts?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If they just kind of got that action-y team mechanic thing going a little more in Monster Hunter, because it was more kind of RPG.
Right.
But I love the idea of like one guy trying to hold down a leg and one guy's just like punching somebody in the head, you know?
Yeah.
Something that can really make it feel immediate like that would be amazing.
We're really excited by what Capcom has in the works for PlayStation 4, and we'll be sharing more later this year. Square Enix is another major partner developing for PlayStation 4. As you know, our relationship with Square Enix dates back 16 years to when Final Fantasy VII appeared on the original PlayStation.
Somebody just actually tweeted out on me, Pantaray is a platonic philosophical term referring to thought, meaning everything flows. So probably talking about those dynamic liquid and fire effects that we were talking about.
Yeah, sure. When you saw a little bit of it, like even as the fire hit the shield started to liquefy there. I'm sure that's a big part of it.
It's also a fictional secret society featured in Umberto Eco's novel Foucault's Pendulum, as you might remember.
It's also the name of my gerbil.
My name is Yoshihisa Hashimoto. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of Square Enix Japan. It's a great pleasure to be present at the announcement of the PlayStation 4. This is a historical event for the game industry. And I'm truly honored to be allowed to give a demonstration in front of you all. Today's demo isn't a game, but rather a real-time cinematic demo running on PlayStation 4.
They did a similar thing for the
This
PS3.
cinematic was created using Lumina Studio, Square Enix's state-of-the-art game engine. I believe it will give you a taste of the game experiences that will become possible with next-gen capabilities.
I'm actually glad to see this because I was really starting to think Sony was an English company.
Without further ado, please enjoy.
Really should be a lot of Japanese developers, right? I mean,
Well, and if anything, it sort of speaks to the fact that gaming and love of video games truly is a global phenomenon. Yeah.
Yeah. Although the Japanese game is culturally very different than the American.
Yeah.
Yes,
Something
there's lots
interesting,
of
I think, to note too is a lot of the guys that came out, the Western developers came out talking about the engines that they were licensing, and all the Japanese developers have come out so far talking about the custom engines that they're making.
Right.
Which I think is an interesting philosophical difference.
The sacred communion between your realm.
This Pantaray, I've been reading up on this, the philosophical roots of Pantaray, and it is about everything flows. All entities move and nothing remains still. Very interesting name choice. This is gorgeous.
This is actually a demo that we've seen before. This is not a new demo.
Now, was it previously indicated that it was going to be like a PS3 title?
This was all they said previously was that it was a custom engine that they built, and it was a technical test.
Well, and we've
so
seen, keep in mind,
interesting
like
to
at E3, we've seen a lot of stuff, demos. When you look at it, it's like clearly there's no way this could be played on the current generation of hardware.
Yes. Interesting to note that we've seen the demo before. The bugs and the people's flesh turning into bugs and stuff, those are all particle effects.
Yeah. But not Havoc. This is their own engine.
This is their own custom engine, yeah. I mean,
thought it was a
beautiful demo. Just interesting choice to show something that the press has already seen before.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's not the press that they're trying to impress.
That's true. I want to say that it leaked out online too, or was released.
Maybe it wasn't. Yeah.
What is the conceit of this? Have you already seen this?
It's Taken 3. Basically. With knives.
And magic.
But Liam Neeson is in it. I saw him at the beginning.
He's the voice of that wolf,
naked
too.
So at this point, Anthony, what are the things that we would expect to see that we haven't seen yet? I'm still waiting on, hoping for some kind of more announcements about Steam integration. I want to see Gabe Newell walk out and talk about something. Probably won't happen at this point.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see
We still
much
haven't
Steam.
seen them talk about what you're going to do with the touchpad on the controller. We haven't seen the actual box that they're selling us yet.
That's true.
A
what
controller.
else?
We've seen a controller. That's it.
I think there might be a box reveal at the end, just to show us, depending on how much they're into their design and how finalized it is. I don't think they're going to double back and give us any more about the hardware. I was really disappointed that all they said was the functionality that only a hard drive can give. What kind of hard drive? You know, what are we looking at? Are we still looking at a standard hard drive, a solid state hard drive? Are we looking at enhanced capacities this generation?
What is the current size in the PlayStation 3?
I want to say you can get a 250 gig now.
Like the Xbox. Yeah. Well, I'm sure they're talking a terabyte or two at least, even if they're just using current hardware.
I would hope so.
An SSD might be interesting, especially the Fusion style SSD slash
Thank you.
spinning drive.
This is the level of quality that Square Enix is targeting for our next generation.
You're watching live coverage of the Sony PlayStation 4 announcement live from New York City with Anthony Carboni of Revision 3, Brian Brushwood from NSFW and Scam School. Our coverage today brought to you by Slingbox, the brand new Slingbox in stores now, the Slingbox 500 with built-in Wi-Fi, HDMI connectivity, the full HD 1080p display. It is amazing. Lets you watch your home theater system anywhere you are, wherever you can get online, on your laptop, on a tablet, on a smartphone even. And right now, the Slingbox apps are half price. It's a good time to go get a Slingbox. You can get one at Amazon, Best Buy, or find out more at slingbox.com/TWiT. Fry's has them too. Amazing picture quality with the new Slingbox 500. We thank Slingbox for providing the wherewithal to do this live coverage. Thank you, Brian and Anthony, for joining us. This has been actually quite interesting.
Yeah, I got to admit, it's already been much more exciting than I thought I'd be. A lot more British.
I am not leaving until they finally announce that The Last Guardian is coming out.
Yep, exactly. Here's Shinji Hashimoto from Final Fantasy.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Shinji Hashimoto. I'm the brand director for Final Fantasy at Square Enix. I'm not brothers with Yoshihisa.
Okay, I could deal with some Final Fantasy.
I just have one thing to say. On the occasion of this presentation by Yoshihisa of the Luminous engine and the announcement of the PlayStation 4 from Sony Computer Entertainment, I would also like to announce that we are preparing for development of a Final Fantasy title. Please be excited for E3 this year.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I will.
Thank you so much.
For you, sir.
Bye.
I will. Thank you for the invitation. I will be excited for E3 this year.
Thank you, Hashimoto-san.
Well, that potentially pegs a little bit more of a timeline than we thought, though. They're going to be showing.
Well, that's when Final Fantasy will be shown, right?
I would now like to welcome a very
That is the
special
first
partner, and
timeline thing we've heard this whole
over
show.
the years, Ubisoft has become an extension of the PlayStation family, and their
And the French are
support
back.
for our platforms has produced hit after hit. The Ubisoft team is truly pioneering a lot of next-generation gameplay, and I'm very excited by what they have to share with you tonight. Please welcome Ubisoft co-founder and CEO, Yves Guillemot.
Thank you. At E3 last year, I asked you all a question. Who really controls our cities, our information, and our lives?
This is the Illuminati.
Thanks to PlayStation 4 and our next-gen titles, Watch Dogs, we have the answer. It will be all of you. Next-generation games blur the lines between the real and virtual worlds, more than ever before. Ubisoft development teams have been hard at work with the PlayStation 4 to make gaming experiences that are more connected, more immersive, and more interactive. We are creating games that will be played anywhere, anytime, across many different devices. Games that will bring friends and gaming communities closer together and let you collaborate to achieve amazing things. Games that are tailored to match your interests and can quickly adapt to all your needs. And we are using the PS4's
I'm not sure I want a game that can adapt to all my needs.
Graphics,
really,
and AI to construct deeper, richer, and more believable games.
Because I got needs.
Players are going to be super excited by the PS4. And this platform will bring millions of new customers. Now, to give you an example of the kind of connected, immersive, and interactive experience, please welcome Jonathan Morin to tell you more about Watch Dogs.
At this point, this is Sony almost reaching out to all their partners. I don't even know if this is as much for the press and the public as it is just a tip of the hat to their partners, right?
Well, I think a lot of people, there's been a lot of buzz about Watch Dogs. You know, some of this stuff, I mean, the Square stuff is obviously you have to have a Square up because so many people want the next Final Fantasy, and Square's still a system seller for a lot of people, so just seeing them there is good. Watch Dogs generated so much buzz at E3. So much.
You thought that the previous one was Watch Dogs. So.
Yeah. I thought they would lead with it, honestly, just because it's so good. But obviously, it's not a console exclusive, so they're kind of sticking it to Ubisoft and throwing them at the end of the conference after Time Zone Guy. Which is not the best place.
You know, and at this point, it starts to feel a little bit tedious and laborious. There's so much that we still haven't seen, you know, that we were just talking about. And obviously, they're going to hit all that before they wrap things up. But on the flip side, I think that if there's one lesson these manufacturers learned, it's that the games define who wins these battles. It's every single console war. It's always been the one with the games that was the winner. Genesis versus TurboGrafx, Atari versus ColecoVision. So at events like this, there's like they would rather go 3 times as long and just make a better case for how they have the games.
Into anyone's lives, anything can happen dynamically in front of you. So you're now going to enjoy a full-blown new live demo that will show you that exploring an open world.
Have you seen a live demo of Watch Dogs yet, Anthony? Is this new?
We saw a guided demo at E3, but this is going to be a different one. This is going to be a new area.
The heart of America. Feels like somewhere it must have skipped a beat. People haven't changed, but now everybody's broadcasting. And once you've seen it, all of it, how do you look away?
Now we're in the live gameplay.
Tell you what, that's another thing that's been amazing to see just in the last decade, the level of storytelling direction that that they're able to get out of video games, where you're able to see innovative art styles that later go on to affect the movies that are made about them.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the medium that will shape our entertainment for the next 50 years. And this is the point where all of the most talented young designers, directors, and artists are getting into the video games.
Feels a lot like Infamous so far.
It's got that Infamous look. What's interesting here is everybody in the game is hackable. You're a hacker. So every single one of these people, you can see, like, it's bringing up personal information, their bank account. Yeah. You can do anything to anybody.
It really is
in
wide
terms
open.
Of hacking them.
That's interesting. He's hacking an ATM now.
So he grabbed that guy's account info a couple dudes back.
Yeah. This looks like fun.
Which is a weird thing to say as you sit and watch a man slowly walk down the street.
Man, is that fun. Well, you know, I don't like shooting people. And I do think that they've got to come up with some alternative. Is that product placement there? PS connected. Crime probability, 56%. So he's spotted a crime in process.
I want to talk to you. I'll call the police. I swear I will.
I'm not going to let you get away with it.
Don't touch me. I'm warning you.
You don't get to ignore me.
Let me go.
And you think you're so special, huh?
Oh,
Suggested action, catch the criminal. Okay. Or I could just pick up the chick.
You also wonder, you don't get to know in a guided demo like this, but what if we had just sat and watched that mugging happen?
Well, what would have happened? Right. And are you a private citizen or are you a cop? I mean, why are you chasing this criminal?
I think they said in the demo at E3 that you're kind of a private citizen, you're kind of a contractor, almost like a hacking mercenary.
And you'll get points for apprehending this guy. Oh, or beating him with a crowbar. And that's that. Neutralized. And then just run away.
It's funny because you can see how much they've learned from, like, you can see so much Assassin's Creed in this. All the different systems coming together. The running, the environments, the mix of combat and different subsystems like the hacking.
But is he going to climb up the wall?
Oh, man, climb up the wall, dude. There we go. Free run.
All right. There we go.
A little parkour action, sure.
You called it.
You know
Something interesting they showed off at E3 that I hope
this reminds me a lot of what I loved about the Prey 2 demo before they canned Prey 2.
Yeah. You can see hacking the power grid.
Well, and also making ambiguous moral decisions. You know, do you rescue him or just let him go? The one thing I'm bummed about is I really dug the alien aesthetic, the sort of tongue-in-cheekness of the world that they were creating.
But it doesn't seem to have much of a story. I guess with an open world, it's hard to have too much of a story.
Well, and we are just seeing like a vertical slice of gameplay, so it's hard to tell what the overarching narrative is going to be.
It does feel like Assassin's Creed. You nailed it. Modern day.
It looks like something they're not going to show, or maybe they will, is talking about those companion apps. There is actually an iPad app that goes along with it where you can watch if somebody's playing, and if they're like driving a getaway car, they showed that you can actually hack traffic lights and stop them from getting away and make them fail their mission.
Oh, I love that. That sounds like fun.
More to share with you later this year.
This year,
another partner I'd like to invite on stage tonight to help illustrate the tremendous.
They've got to have so much more in their bag if they're already giving up this much and expecting us to have a lot more at E3.
And it's going to be such a good E3 this year. Such a good E3.
This is not only the first time they've been on stage for PlayStation, but the first time they've been on stage for any console. It's my pleasure to introduce Senior Vice President of Story and Franchise Development from Blizzard Entertainment, Chris Metzen.
What?
Blizzard?
What?
Are you kidding me?
Well, there's that one last mind-blowing thing that we were waiting for, huh?
Yeah, well, and this is, again, they've always been good about courting the PC vote.
Good. Many of you are probably wondering why an old school PC game developer is kind of crashing the big Sony party tonight. I'm very pleased to share with you all that Blizzard and Sony have entered into a strategic partnership through which we will
mutually assured destruction.
But he just said take over the world.
Take over the world, he did. Take over the world. Now, is it a new title, or are we going to see World of Warcraft or StarCraft? What are we going to see?
People don't really know about Blizzard is that we actually got our start as a console game development shop. You know, we cut our teeth on making games like
this guy is
Lost
talking
Vikings,
unlike
Rock and Roll
anyone
Racing,
else.
Blackthorn.
I love this.
Blackthorn was great.
That's cool. You could say that console game development really is just in our blood. We're very, very passionate about it.
I wouldn't say that.
I'm
not sure I'd say that, but
I could say it.
You could say it.
We have held a deep
Vikings? You think it's Vikings?
To get back into the mix and to bring console players, you know, some of the home-cooked,
sounds an awful lot like the way Jeff Kanata talks.
The trick was always going to be how.
I'll tell you what, if they did tie in a major title and allowed you to connect to PC servers, that would be
to console.
That would be the slap back that they need
could make
at
the jump,
Steam, you know?
while still maintaining their accessibility, their playability.
It's really BlizzardNet, despite the fact that it's far fewer titles, is a competitor to Steam.
It
totally
is. With Sony, that we have our game.
Well, yeah, of course, their BattleNet pioneered eventually what Steam became.
Steam what? Yeah.
Or many aspects of it, anyway.
To the PlayStation 4.
Let's see. That looks World of Warcrafty. Where is it? Where's
Diablo?
Oh, that's the Diablo sound.
Diablo, it is. Diablo 4? 3.
Oh.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Huh. I'm less excited about that than I'm.
That's a choice.
It's an interesting choice.
Well,
yeah.
PlayStation 3.
It's
actually right now we have a version running on the
keep in mind, this could be just the opening act, because if they're doing full integration, what if like all their games came over? I mean, obviously.
Yeah. What if World of Warcraft could be played on the PlayStation 4?
Exactly.
That would be that would be much more interesting than Diablo.
You know, strategically, it's a good test for both companies, right? Because Diablo 3 doesn't have the installed player base that some of the other Blizzard titles has. So maybe they start making a little money on Diablo 3 again. Sony sees that they're good to work with, and then maybe we get a Warcraft or something like that.
One of the really fun things about this version of the game is we've developed a 4-player co-op mode. That's full screen. You know, you can kind of
4-player co-op.
Full screen. I like that.
One of the group, decides to run back to town. You know,
it's a little World of Warcrafty.
Smooth,
it's a shame I don't like Diablo 3, but that's great.
That's nice. It's kind of one of our standby lines.
This is still him.
Diablo 3 at all, Brian?
He's the only guy who's just talking, not reading the teleprompters in the back.
Brian can't believe it.
It's just this straight talk.
That would be very, very cool.
I actually played through all of Diablo 3 in normal mode.
Yeah, I did too. I enjoyed it immensely.
It's fun. It was quick.
It's a quick We're going to have some video. We're going to have playable demos.
A lot of clicking. Click.
So much clicking.
So much clicking.
So keep your eyes and ears open for that. We can't wait to show you how this thing looks. It's just been amazing to watch it come together. So,
this is interesting more for what it might portend than for what it is.
We're very excited about our partnership with Sony and what the future has in store for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess you're right. I mean, really, it's just, if nothing else, I mean, for us on the sidelines, people who, I think most of the people watching right now, if they wanted Diablo 3, they already
played it, yeah.
But it does show Sony's commitment to crossover platforms again, which I think is
an assault. It's an assault on the PC.
It really is, and it does show that, like we thought earlier, that Valve relationship evaporated after Portal 2.
This is me again.
Evaporated.
Now, there's one more partner I'd
they
like
haven't
to
mentioned Valve
invite
at all.
on stage tonight. This publisher is known for making not just some of the biggest video games on the planet, but some of the biggest entertainment franchises in any medium on the planet.
Wait for it.
They are one of the driving forces behind turning video games into mainstream popularity.
Yeah, maybe EA.
It's my pleasure to welcome to the stage the CEO of Activision Publishing.
Activision.
All right.
EA Light.
He just comes out, he's like, don't worry, you're going to get Call of Duty.
Thank you, Andy, for the kind words. Of course,
it's going to be fine.
Don't worry. Yeah, exactly.
Companies like Sony building incredible platforms like the PS4 that have brought interactive entertainment into the living rooms of hundreds of millions of people around the world. Activision has supported every single one of Sony's platforms and has created some of the most iconic hits on each and every one of them. And our commitment to the PS4 will be no different.
Activision owns Blizzard.
Supporting the PS4.
Wait, I don't think that's accurate. I think
is that not accurate? Publishes their relationship.
And we're looking forward to sharing more with you in the coming months. But what I
That's
can
what I
tell
get
you,
for
though,
reading the chat
today
room.
is that our
Wouldn't you get
developers,
your
our
jacket
technology
tailored if you knew you were going to be on the Sony press
I'd
conference?
at least get another button sewed on.
You know?
We're excited to be a part
Maybe tighten
of
the
bringing
tie.
the next generation of great games to the next great
That's
gaming
the shirt's the
platform
problem.
from Sony.
If you're gonna do the blazer and tie, you better commit to it, buddy. We're on a live stream.
It's like he threw it on seconds before running out on stage.
For too long now.
Anybody got a tie? Give me a tie.
What better way for us to show our
It's like the mic person was like, listen,
I need something.
we need you. Yeah, you need to wear a tie because we got to put a mic on that.
Oh, wait, busted. You're right, Leo. It is. Chat room was right. Remind me to never question the chat room. It is
Oh, no,
Activision
you can
Blizzard.
question the chat room.
Bungie. What did he just say?
Bungie. Halo?
Destiny.
That?
No,
Now, wait a minute.
it won't
Now,
be
this was
Halo.
a Microsoft company that walked out on Microsoft. That's very interesting, isn't it?
So we saw Destiny last week. We saw the first preview. They're looking at building a persistent online world with kind of like drop-in, drop-out co-op. And they're looking to create a game that they said is going to last as a console and PC online world for 10 years.
Is this Destiny?
This should be
I
Destiny.
want to tell you a little bit about what Bungie's been doing for the last few years.
First,
After Halo,
we left
asked ourselves
Microsoft.
the question, what next? What's worth doing? When you have a studio with this much talent, what do you point it at?
Yeah, that's the
How can we
Destiny
take a
logo.
genre that we know and love so well, the first-person shooter, and turn it on its head again? And our answer is Destiny. Bungie's next great FPS.
So this is Halo-ish, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they didn't jump ship from Microsoft and make the dumb decision of saying something like, "Well, what if we tried to make a strategy game?" Like they know.
Right. They know what they do. Stick to your knitting.
Customize their characters.
It's
So, we're seeing
Master
customizable
Chief.
characters.
Not just on a great competitive
We're seeing.
experience that
He's going to
players
talk a
demand
little
from
bit
a
about the
shooter,
multiple
but
platform
to
thing.
make
I'm
sure
sure. What's interesting is listen for this drop-in, drop-out co-op philosophy. It's kind of like Journey if you played Journey last year.
Destiny is going to be amazing on PlayStation 4. It's a great piece of gear. And we can't wait to see what PlayStation fans do when they set foot in our world for the first time.
Agent 687 in our chat room says, which comes first, the availability of the PS4 or the end of this announcement? If it keeps going any longer, they...
I'm 50-50 right now on whether they're going to announce price and availability.
I mean, would they really go that far and not even show the box? Not even
You've
say...
still got E3. You've still
That
got
makes
E3.
2 Jason Jones sightings inside of a week, so you'll hear from him again in 2025. Destiny is an ambitious project. It's what we're calling the
Never
first
wait for the
shared
laugh,
world shooter.
Blazer. Just
It's
keep
something
moving.
We're putting a lot of creativity and resources behind. We're very excited to bring it to the PlayStation 4. And to tell you a little bit more about it, it's now my pleasure to introduce some of the key leaders at Bungie. Andreas Jenkins, John T. Barnes, Marty O'Donnell, and Bungie's president, Harold Ryan.
On your bingo cards, you can check off
Hello,
dubstep.
PlayStation Nation. When Bungie became independent, we were really excited about bringing our games to a bigger audience. Our partnership with Activision, and now Sony, will allow us to do just that. Destiny is an ambitious and innovative game. It's a perfect fit for the PlayStation 4. Like the PlayStation 4, Destiny is an online connected experience. Like the PlayStation 4, Destiny lets you access the content you love from multiple devices. And like the PlayStation 4, Destiny is designed to entertain you for years to come. We're proud to announce today that at the launch of Destiny, both the PS4 and the PS3 versions will be available. And even better, we'll be creating exclusive playable content just for the PlayStation community. We look forward to sharing more details with you in the coming months.
Now, is this
From
going to be
all
a
of us at Bungie,
cross-play thing,
thank you very
Anthony,
much.
where it's like you can play it either on a PC or on a PlayStation?
So they haven't announced whether it will be cross-platform, but I would imagine that would be their goal.
Even on an Xbox.
Yeah, for them.
That's
well,
interesting.
Yeah, because for them, they're looking to build this persistent
Needless
online
to
world.
say,
If they
we're
really do want to keep
ecstatic
it
to
going
bring
for 10 years,
Destiny
you can't
and
be a platform
exclusive
exclusive.
Right.
content to the PlayStation 4, and we know the Bungie fans will love it. To all of you who have joined us today, whether in the room or via live stream, thank you so much for being here.
They're wrapping up.
The arrival of PlayStation 4 presents an enormous opportunity to dramatically evolve the gameplay experience.
Man, if they do, if they close out...
Power, to enhance social capabilities, to bigger, better, and more immersive gameplay.
I just can't believe it, man.
And a simple adaptive interface.
Like, without telling us how much it is or showing it to us.
And really, I mean, I don't think we learned anything that we didn't kind of already know, right? Or at least certainly suspect.
Well, we got a number of titles. We, of course, got partnership agreements.
Holiday 2013.
There we go.
More particles. More ugly old men.
Leathernecks.
And more particles.
I think, you know, there's some technical questions and some questions about specifics that they just were not going to answer, and I think we knew that.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it was a very, very strong announcement. I'm very interested.
And that's what it needed to do, right? Get your attention.
Yes, and if their goal was to utterly electrify E3, like at this moment, if I was E3, I'd be watching.
It's great for E3. It means people will now say, yes, we got to go to E3.
Yeah, and I think you're right in that it puts Microsoft in a position where they have to do as well or better.
Right.
And also, I'm also wondering what Microsoft's timeline is for market, because I would have thought that this would be. Honestly, knowing Sony's track record, I would have thought maybe early 2014. I would have thought, you know, maybe they weren't going to make holidays, and that's why they were announcing early. But now it looks like there's going to be a console war for Christmas, and I like that.
That's great. That's exciting. It does put pressure on Microsoft, and Microsoft's dealing with other issues on other fronts. They've got to, you know, they're making hardware for computer hardware for the first time. They're struggling a little bit with that. They're struggling with Windows 8. And the Xbox thing may not be #1 on the... this might be a chance for Sony to kind of steal a jump on them.
You know, they addressed everything that I think they needed to address in terms of their weaknesses compared to the Xbox. I mean, the biggest thing for them has always been online platform. And they've always been lagging behind on that. And, you know, if they can really tightly integrate it from the get-go this time, if they can really give a sense of community and you know, take on Xbox Live for once. You know, on my PS3, I never buy anything that I know I'm going to be playing multiplayer because that platform just lags so far behind.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, this was a fascinating... I can't remember another video game or console related announcement that was quite like this, in that they whetted our appetite with a bunch of information, none of which was the information that we thought we wanted. We thought we would want to hear how much is it, what does it look like, when does it come out, what do you do with the little touch thingy, and none of that was there. So, man, I think that they have tried a strategy of supercharging anticipation by giving answers, but what normally traditionally are the supplementary parts of these kind of talks. They gave us all the secondaries so that we're still double hungry for the primaries when E3 comes around.
We know hardware-wise, it's an AMD processor, 8-core, GDDR5 onboard GPU, throughput of 176 gigabytes a second. They said a massive hard drive, but didn't say how massive. The controller we saw, that's the only bit of hardware we did see, and it does have that little LCD panel it was rumored to have. It looks like that's part of the Move technology built into the controller. Also, they did show a camera, so we saw a dual camera that would go along, I guess, with that Move technology. And
it's almost as though, Leo, it's almost as though they wanted to build up anticipation for their movie by releasing the director's commentary first. so
I like it. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have more information, but this is a very asynchronous way to release this kind of information.
Holiday 2013 for the PlayStation 4, and now the ball is in Microsoft's court. But we agree, Nintendo is just kind of left in the dust at this point, yes?
Yeah, dude.
Those
and actually, I mean,
poor guys. Good Lord.
You feel for them.
I do, man.
Okay, we should talk about this. Anthony, you, to put it mildly, not a fan of the Wii U. You and I have had some private conversations where you've said some interesting thing.
You want to make them public, Brian Brushwood? Let's make them public.
No.
This is a nightmare console. It's a nightmare console. Whereas the Wii was, you can argue about the implementation of the Wii. You can argue about whether it delivered everything that everybody wanted from it. But what you can't argue is the Wii was a brilliant and original idea that they fully got behind, and they understood what they were doing. The Wii U was like all of the marketing guys came in and said, it's been 5 years, we better do something. Oh, well, kids like tablets. So we'll add one. Why? I don't know. Kids like tablets.
More to the point, a challenge. We didn't see word one of Steam or Valve, right?
Yeah, well, and I think that's, we were hoping for a surprise there, but
it's not a surprise that they weren't there.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me wonder what they're going on with, because as you guys were pointing out, they've had layoffs with a bunch of hardware guys, which.
But Gabe Newell said this doesn't change our strategy or plans. That's just right sizing.
Right, and that's fine, but like it would have been poetic and made sense had the reason that they got rid of a bunch of hardware guys is because they chose to more deeply integrate directly with PlayStation 4. If PS4 was the Steam box, that would have been a giant coup and interesting. But man, I guess outside of that, we didn't see demos for novel control methods. I guess what the Blizzard announcement was a big one.
That was the biggest surprise, but not much when it's just Blizzard doing Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's kind of taking the place of that Valve and Steam relationship. Right. Valve and Sony tested the waters with Portal 2. They were like, what happens if we integrate? Does this work for us? Apparently it didn't. So now they're going to Blizzard and they're saying, well, talk to us about Battle.net. Let's see what kind of strategic partnership we can make there that's still going to give us maybe some of those PC users that we were hoping to bring over. And
finally, what we thought the Gaikai cloud will be part of PlayStation 4 for both demo streaming and for earlier legacy support. PlayStation 1 through 2.
Another thing we didn't hear about any kind of physical media whatsoever. We didn't hear about there being a Blu-ray disc or whatever. Instead, it's clear that they're focusing on online. That's the way they want people to buy games. And to be honest, I'm totally okay with that. I'm done.
Well, but is it? But don't you need some physical media? Aren't these games big enough that you can't download?
I don't think that this is a matter of them focusing on downloadable entirely as a strategy. I think this is them just holding off on whatever the format is, whether that's because, Sony's trying to push a 4K format through for consumers, whether they're trying to work on some sort of hybrid 4K Blu-ray drive. Like, I think that's a nitty-gritty detail that we just weren't made privy to right now.
Yeah, but they showed the CPU, they showed the GPU, they showed 8 gigabytes of memory, they showed local storage. They didn't show an optical disc.
Well, and I'm sure it's in there. I mean, if they're going to talk about backwards compatibility, and structurally, a lot of people use these devices to watch their movies. So let's say there's a Blu-ray drive in there, but it makes sense for them not to emphasize this, because if it is a Blu-ray drive, which I'm assuming it is, then this will be the first console where you're going to see video games coming out on 2 Blu-ray discs. One that you have to sit there, wait 3 hours for it to upload everything onto, and then the other being the actual play disc. And so with that kind of messy outcome being in the future, and the fact that eventually you want to migrate to everything being downloadable, it makes sense that they wouldn't even mention it, just talk about other
stuff. Is it conceivable that, given that we've got 9 months, 10 months, they might be working on a higher density optical disc that would be suitable for 4K? Remember, Sony's a movie company, too. They're a big content company, too.
I don't think that's out of the question at all. I think they're probably rushing. Schedule? I think they're probably rushing. You know what I think is? I think we saw a lot of TVs at CES, and we didn't see any drives, and I think there's some sort of messy format war going on behind closed doors right now.
They don't want another Blu-ray versus HD DVD war.
Exactly.
So they're waiting.
There's some sort of consortium that they're trying to build. There's some sort of spec that they're all trying to fight for. And I think Sony's hoping that we're going to see it before the holidays.
That's what I'm wondering. Well, we may not, but why say anything unless you know? If you're going to put Red Ray in, why say Blu-ray? Why say anything till And you can always say in September, oh, and it has a Blu-ray player.
Yep, sure. Exactly. Sure. Well, although I will say time to format, once again, really, really shocked. No mention of any kind of 4K support at all. from from a television manufacturer, from a movie studio head. Right?
You've got to, you're saving that. Okay, here's my predictions for E3. I guarantee you we're going to get 4K support, mainly because let's say they announced 4K support. It doesn't have to look good. All it has to do is physically be able to handle pushing that number of pixels, which most of PC video cards, or certainly video game cards, are able to handle anyway. Guarantee you're going to have 4K at E3. And again, I think it's all holding back mystery so that you have a punch when you need it.
I agree.
I don't know.
Withholding until you know what you're going to do, because you still don't know.
Yeah, there's Sony with the PS2 and the PS3. There were a couple promises that they did not come through on in terms of hardware, and I think they're really, really worried, especially after all the security issues they had last year. Consumer confidence is job one for Sony right now. So they don't want to announce anything they're not 100% sure of, or anything they'll have to go back on.
Yeah. Well, and as far as like the 4K possibility thing, I mean, all you have to do is say the words supports 4K, and the 4K experience could actually be worse than the 1080p experience.
But it supports
the kind of thing.
Right.
Well, exactly, because it's that kind of thing where it's like, do you want to run at high resolution at a lower frame rate, or do you want to run at high resolution with a reduced, particle count? Yeah,
they can do it. The current PlayStation 3 supports 3D.
Yep.
So they can do it. That's a 4K format, in effect, dual 2K screens.
Right.
They can do it. I don't think that that's the issue. I think Anthony's right that there is a format war behind the scenes. Nobody wants to pre-announce because they don't want to get in that bloodletting that they did with Blu-ray and HD DVD. And Sony's got a big dog in this hunt, so I cannot imagine that Sony is not thinking about it, at least. And I think they were probably wise not to say anything.
I think it'll be 4K, native 4K support for video. I think 4K support for games will be through probably a similar upscaling engine that they have in their Blu-ray players and their televisions, to make maybe a game that's a little over 1080p or is native 1080p, because most of our PS3 games are upscaled to 720 or 1080 right now anyway. I think we'll probably get native 1080p games that are cleanly upscaled to 4K.
Well, what we're seeing is there are still plenty of questions, lots more to say at E3 in June, and probably in another announcement closer to Christmas, maybe September, when they'll actually show hardware and announce availability.
And you realize, of course, Leo, the mere fact that the moment it ended, all we did was start speculating is exactly
what they wanted
out of this event. Yeah,
that's what they wanted. And they wanted to get the main players up on the stage so that we could see them and that they could be seen. Anthony Carboni from Revision 3, so great to have you.
Thank you very much. And if you guys, like I said earlier, we've got Adam Sessler out there right now, and we'll probably be putting up some more content later on tonight at youtube.com/Rev3Games and early tomorrow morning if you guys want to find out more as we do.
youtube.com/Rev3Games. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Brian Brushwood. Really appreciate it. Both of you on short notice. We weren't sure if we were going to do this until we got word that, yes, there was going to be a PlayStation 4. We decided to go ahead with it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did, man. It was a good time.
It was a lot of fun.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If only it worked out that TWiT was able to have some kind of coverage of E3. Boy, wouldn't that be fun.
What about, Game On at E3?
I'll tell you what, that's one of the things we talked about was that Game On, obviously not as a weekly show, but maybe specials. It would be a lot of fun if Veronica and I could run around E3s. Just put it out. Just saying some words is all I'm saying.
Let me look in the piggy bank and see what we got. Right. I might have something in the sofa cushions over there.
That's amazingly slick how you got that in. Love that.
Anthony's going to be there. We'll just watch him.
That's fine. That's fine, too. I'll just hang around outside.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This special coverage, breaking news coverage of the Sony PlayStation 4 announcement in New York, brought to you by our friends at Slingbox. The totally redesigned, much easier to use and hook up. I got to say, Slingbox 500 with built-in Wi-Fi, no wires, HDMI connectivity, full 1080p HD. And I love it because that means you can watch your home theater system everywhere you go on the internet via tablet, laptop, even smartphone. As long as you got an internet connection, you can even wirelessly archive photos and videos and enjoy them on your TV at home or wherever you go. It's a great two-way connection. With Slingbox, you're actually watching your home TV system. Everything you can do. You can even control the DVR, watch and record new shows anywhere in the world. Right now, Sling apps are at half price, and you could find a Slingbox 500 at Fry's, at Amazon, at Best Buy, or check it out at slingbox.com/twit. Thank you, Slingbox, for providing the wherewithal to do our live coverage of the Sony PlayStation 4 announcement. I'm Leo Laporte. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.